Hello, how are you? We're about to go.
Hi,
We are
how are
live now.
you? Awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, Natasha.
Hi,
Yeah.
Natasha, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm
So
good
we can
too.
carry on with the discussion. The other
Okay.
stream just crashed, and hopefully people will start coming in again. How's everything anyway?
This side, so as usual, we are well, we can't complain, life goes on, but we need some
Yeah,
change.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely, we need change. We need change, definitely. So basically, thank God we went off because we would have missed out on the latest information. Just on the WhatsApp group, somebody just shared this. So whilst we're waiting for people to come on board, um, here is what is going on at present. So somebody just shared that we are now being threatened. So this minister, what's his name?
That we're using. And I want to warn these people who are using social media platforms. Don't say I didn't warn you, because your time will soon come to pass. We have working with the victor to ensure that using these platforms, we pursue these criminals that have taken to the social media. I'm warning you, don't say I didn't warn you, because you have got this attitude of people saying, no, you're infringing on our freedoms. No, we are not going to allow people misusing social media to prey on other people's rights.
Okay. So what's that man's name?
Is that Fernando Sambo?
And I want
No.
to warn these people who are using social
What
media.
is he?
It's Honorable Stephen Kampiongo. Is Honorable Stephen Kampiongo.
Oh, so that's Campion.
Honorable Stephen Kampiongo.
What's honorable about him? If
He's
he's
an
talking like
MP. Well, that's his office carries that title, sure.
yeah. So, Brother
Yes.
Herbert, you know what's going on. His name is Campion.
Okay.
You've heard what's going on. People are coming in. First of all, we started with the president. The president has warned the youth if they come on social media. What would you say about that?
Okay, looking at it all, I think there's a lot of emotions around the situation, and at the end of the day, people end up saying a lot of things which are not supposed to be said. I feel, looking from His Excellency's point of view, I think I think it's time for him to just open his doors and say, okay, guys, I want to give you my ear. Let's talk about what do you want? Yeah, we need a dialogue. We need to come to a round table. We need to come to a place where we need to speak out, and we need them to hear. Why do we say so? We are like in a home, and if there are issues, people need to come to the round table and sit and talk about what's bothering their minds. At the end of the day, we come up with a solution. The whole idea is to drive an agenda of national development, of oneness. But if you begin to try to stifle people's liberties of freedom of expression, you put them in a place where you're trying to clip their role in terms of participating on the democratic platform that we have adopted as a form of governance in our country. So I feel that if leadership is going to take an antagonistic approach to this situation, it's just going to breed a lot of bitterness and more problems. I think Zambia has gone through a lot of problems, and I think this is the period we need to start working out a modality of, or rather to work out some kind of plan in terms of healing the nation. If people bring out issues like corruption and all these other social and economic issues, we need leadership to listen to us and say, okay, guys, how can we work? How do we work together in dealing with this? They say that we the citizens, we are also partners with the government in development, meaning that we have a say. Not only that, it's a democracy, and when we vote our leaders into the place of authority, they're simply operating on our instruction. The vote, when we vote for them, we are telling them this is what we want. So they don't have, they shouldn't come down, they shouldn't look down to us or come up with threats, and they're just really, really disintegrating an opportunity that should bring healing to the nation. I tell you, there's so much pain in people's hearts. People are suffering. Yes, and I think again, the government should be excited to see that people are now able to talk, because I think if the government says that they're a democratic government, I think it just raises the image of the government if they can allow people to participate in governance issues such as where people can just express. Definitely, we are not advocating for criminal activities. We're not advocating for people to say all kinds to do evil. No. What we want is we want a better Zambia for each one of us, where everybody has gotten every one of us has an equal opportunity to the wealth of the country. This is our country. I hold a green registration card. I hold a passport. Because I'm part and parcel of this great country. I'm the child of the soil, as someone would say. So I think, Lily, what we are lacking as in a country, as in Zambia, is our issues are beyond the deep-seated issues which stem out of our culture, which really forbids people to participate and air out their views. And I feel that the times we are in, we need to upgrade our thinking to a place where we are able to participate, we're able to think together, and not only just that, but we need as well to have a mind and a heart of accommodating divergent views. This is this brings about development. You see, development is not about infrastructure. Development is about systems. So we admire the Western world and the way of doing things. It's because they've developed systems that work for them. I doubt if there's any system in this country that works for us. It's like everything is going against us. So on that scope, I feel we need to really, really do a bit of growing up. We need to do a bit of we need just to be healthy within us to go beyond. So I've just, as we saw Honorable Kampiongo coming on and saying all those things again, it is not good to react, to be reactive in such a manner, because what we need from the government, especially the Honorable Minister, is for them to provide that environment where we need to feel safe. Even if we have different, we have got a different minds, rather we have got divergent views to theirs. We need them. We need to feel safe. We don't need to feel afraid. So I think if they come with all these intimidation tactics, it's just going to raise more problems for them. And definitely they want our votes. So we want to vote for people we can trust. So intimidating us is not the best method. You can try. You see, you can try to stifle people, but people are people. And I think if anybody is doing wrong, let the law visit them. But if people are not breaking any law, let them be given the opportunity to express themselves. As I think I've been even saying to other people, like I say, guys, I think we need to have a very objective approach to the whole thing. As much as we want to express ourselves, we are not saying our freedoms are absolute. No. They have to be. They are controlled. But at the end of the day, what we want is your voice, my voice, heard by those who have been given responsibility to manage our affairs. So yeah, so I think as a country we are going in a very wrong direction, very wrong direction if we begin to come up with all these things.
Absolutely, because I mean, for the head of state to come up with such a statement is shocking, because you know he is elected in power. It's not like he just woke up and found himself in power. It was because of the youth that voted for him. And when he was voted into office, he swore an allegiance to the Zambian people, to serve the Zambian people and not to command the Zambian people. So if he's saying that, and then Kampiongo also comes up with all these statements, it's scary, you know. And this is why the Zambian youths, I think the reason why they're behaving like this is because they never expected that, you know, even after Bowman Lusambo said the celebrities should ask for forgiveness, they never did. In fact, B-Flow has even shot another video saying, I'm sorry, I am not going to apologize. And because Bowman is close to the president acts based on what Bowman wants. Because Bowman said he would deal with people in 24 hours. And 24 hours came, only one person asked for forgiveness. And the rest, they have been strong. Yeah. And then now, the president himself, he's telling the elderly women. Now, if we can easily decampaign them. It's not even difficult. And the only way to decampaign them is Kwip Shabafiash, who asked the elderly mothers, Mayo, ever since these people have been in power, can you afford the 4 square meal? No. So why is this person trying to say the youth are making noise? How old is the president, by the way? What's his age?
Okay.
What's the president's age?
Probably is in his, I think, early 60s. I think he's in early 60s. I think he just clocked 60 recently. I stand to be corrected. I think he clocked 60 recently. Yeah.
And
I think he's in 60s, 61, 62, somewhere there.
Yeah. So this type of intimidation that people, I'm saying, and he's expecting to be in power for forever. Isn't it the youth who will take over office? Okay.
Yeah, this is why as I'm saying, I think the way we approach such things is I think my cry is to see whenever you're dealing with politicians, they view life through the spectacles, or rather the lenses of politics. And definitely but I think our approach we shouldn't be in their wavelength politically. I think we should be from a nationalistic approach, a patriotic approach. And seeing Honorable Bowman Lusambo, seeing all these, especially Bowman Lusambo, what we want to hear, I think from my expectation of them is that I think they're being biased, or rather they're being biased. Maybe, I don't know, whatever thing they're afraid of. We are not their enemies. We pray for them. We are for them because we want them to succeed. If they succeed, we succeed in terms of their work towards us. But the problem is that this whole so-called movement or revolution, as it is being tagged, it's being viewed as maybe it's being sponsored by the opposition and things like that. In my opinion, I feel that we can go beyond. We can look at it from a very, very different, very objective angle. If people bring out issues, I think the best whistle blowers are the citizens. If they notice something is wrong, they complain. I think you need to respond accordingly. Why? Because when they put you in power, they have certain expectations of you, and those expectations are already measured. They know that, and definitely, if you say that, okay, I'm going to tackle corruption, we're going to deal with corruption. We know that when a wrong has been done, we expect the law to visit that problem, that wrong. But the challenge we have is that a lot of things have been said, but guess what? There's been a very passive response to it. So at the end of the day, it keeps people frustrated, it keeps people upset. And you see, the more people get upset, it becomes a very irrational stage at which now people stop reasoning and people just begin to just do the wrong things. So I believe that, like, for example, we see people like, let people express their opinions, let people express their feelings. It's in their rights, it's in the constitution. If they are doing anything outside the law, let the law visit them. But as long as people are in the law, as long as people are able to express themselves. See, I was thinking the other day, I was saying that, okay, we have adopted democracy as our governance system, and this democracy has its own things to it. So definitely, democracy in the democratic tenets, things like freedom of expression, freedom of rather, I would say, gathering, and all those things these are rights. So when somebody uses their rights to propagate their thoughts in terms of to say what they want, I think I think there must be that environment where people are free to do that, because it's democracy. If, for example, we were under a dictatorship, and they said no freedom of expression, and if somebody tries to speak out, definitely there would be a justification on the law enforcers to arrest such a person. Why? Because they are breaking the law. But since we're not in that, environment, we are in a democratic environment. We need to understand that every one of us have the rights to all these things. What the Constitution provides for us, those are our privileges, and nobody should play with our privileges. So I think we need to sober up on this issue. We need to have a heart-to-heart, mind-to-mind, serious conversation on it. Hello.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I'm
Can
hearing
you hear me? Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very clear.
Okay, great.
Your network
Yes.
is very good.
Right. So what?
Okay,
sure.
you can
Thanks.
carry on.
Yes. So what sure. What I think we need as a nation, I think we need to sober up. We need to, if government is thinking that, okay, maybe these are lies, definitely lies have got short legs. It will be proved. But again, when allegations come out where people talk about corruption, I think let those claims as well be subject to proof, so that at the end of the day, people can know the truth. We want to have confidence in the government, in the institutions, our governance institutions, our democratic institutions. We need to have confidence at the end of the day, where we'll be able to trust and say, okay, they have dealt with this issue. But you see, already there's all, if how I put it, okay, let me say this. People want to have confidence in the judicial system. People want to have confidence in the police. People want to have confidence, not just with this, but they want to go to the hospital, and they want to go, when they go to the hospital, they want to know that I'm going to get better when I come back from the hospital. We want to have confidence in all these things. I think we're at a stage where I think we are fed up of this level. We feel there's more this country, rather there's more we can do for ourselves. I can tell you, this country is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of mineral resource. But not only that, we talk about minerals. And do you know that Zambians as well are one of the most intelligent people? Zambians are very intelligent people, very intelligent people. Yeah, they rank amongst the highest even on the continent. So we have the human resource, we have the natural resources, but I think we need to find a winning way to sort out our problems. So I think when we see people like Honorable Kampyongo say, no, they're going to go to Zikta, they're going to try to pin people, are doing all these things, I think it's not going to help. It's not going to help them. It will disadvantage them, because now it will disadvantage them now, because now they'll have an image, a very bad image, because now they'll be trying to cut off people's privileges of expression. As I said earlier on, the Bill of Rights has given you these privileges, and every citizen has them. So Lily, I think what we will need to do is we will need to approach our leaders definitely with humility, but not with a stupid mind. We are going to approach them and say, we are the future. In fact, let me use this word: we are the future. One day, all of them will be out of leadership. Who will take over the reins of power? It's the young generation. So the young generation must as well. They must have that engagement with it, because they must be preparing the young generation for tomorrow. But like what we see, there is no plan. There isn't order. Everything is just in all. Everything is just everywhere. Yes. So what?
Yes.
We want as Zambians. We want, I want to be proud again. I want to be proud again. I want each time I wake up, I know this is my land, this is my country. You see, I don't want to speak evil of my country. I don't want to have any negative feeling about my country. But can you guess what? It's unavoidable. You wake up, you always just feel frustrated, or by the time it's 9 hours, you just feel frustrated. You just begin to see all the problems that are in the world are just right in Zambia. So yeah, so I think, Lillian, we really need as young people. I think the problem with us as well, Zambians, I think the problem is that we are not patriotic. Let's just be honest. We are not patriotic. Yes, we are not patriotic. We don't love our country. This is why there's so much corruption. You see, if you can steal from your own, country, that means you don't love your country. Yes. So we are not patriotic. And again, the thing, I think my prayer is that there's going to be a resilient consistency in this so-called movement until we are accommodated and heard, and until a solution is found. You know, that is what I think we should be talking about. Personally, because of, I will not say, okay, let's change government or let's not change government. It's that we can change government and bring the same kind of people. So we need to deal with issues at the root level. Yes. What is not? Let's look at what is not working and what is working. Maybe we need to deal with the systems. Maybe we need to deal with mindsets. So I think this is a very, very important conversation right now in this country, and it's historical because it's going to bear fruits for the future. So I'm extremely excited. At the same time, I'm just a bit nervous because I hope people will not be harassed and people will not be intimidated. I just pray that that doesn't happen. And what we want to see from people like the president, people like Honorable Sambo, Honorable Kampyongo, is just to sober up and just say, okay, let's have a chat and deal with this, with your problems. That's what we want. Okay. We want.
Emmanuel wants to say something. Emmanuel, how are you?
Sure.
I'm good, Lily. How are you?
Hi, Emmanuel. I'm okay,
good.
thank you.
You're good.
Hi, Emmanuel. How are you, bro?
I'm not so good at all.
Looking hear you.
At the way in our country, you can't say things are good.
No, sir.
Yeah, we are talking about going to the table with these guys, but they've already put in words. How do you go to a table with someone who's already threatened you? You see, the president has given it loud and clear, saying Kampyongo now go ahead and deal with these guys, and Kampyongo has issued statements. There's Zikta coming on board. So now, how do we talk to people who have already armed themselves? The men in uniform get ready to hammer some people. Then how do you sit on the table with such people?
I hear you.
There's nothing bad about what we're trying to do. We just want to know what's going on. What's the way forward? But you can't negotiate with somebody who doesn't want to listen. They are not ready to listen.
Okay, let's do this.
To have their way.
Let's give them a benefit of doubt. I just want you to get me to, maybe there's opportunity for people to change their minds. Maybe there's an opportunity for them to change their minds and say, okay, I think we're being too rash. Maybe let's hope so. Let's hope so. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's be hopeful. Yes, despite that.
Yeah. I get you.
Commenting that Herbert, you're being humble. Herbert, you are dealing with people that woman was literally
that's no. Let me tell you.
Masks.
No. Listen, this is what I'm saying. That you see, two wrongs. Rather, if you try to, if for example you're upset and I'm upset, we're not going to have a solution. It's not about being humble. It's about being the bigger person in this problem. Yes, we are suffering, but we rather take the mature approach. If anything goes to the waste, then we can say, okay, face to face. But for now, I think there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to sort out our problems. If they can give us the opportunity, if they can just lend us our ears, that will be the beginning of a better Zambia. And this is what I'm saying we cannot just, as much as the president has said that, as much as these people are all now armed against us, we can, what is the Muhammad Gandhi, his victory, his peaceful tactics and India independence. So as I know, we are upset, we are angry, and it's justifiable. It's justifiable. Yes, our feelings are justifiable. All I just want to bring is, I think, let us approach it with the greatest objectivity we could ever have.
Yeah, well, we're not talking of throwing stones though.
Yeah.
We're not inciting violence, please.
Sure.
Natasha, how are you going to fight? How are you going to fight them when you're like this? These are people who are coming with armed forces. So you have to be.
I had time to write. Sorry, my phone. I had time to write a few things that need to change within our country. I don't know if you guys want to hear all of them, but the thing is that I feel like freedom of speech is something that is for every democracy. Freedom of speech is one thing that should never be infringed on. And the thing is that when we see there's a diversity in background. So the thing that I've realized about Zambia is people always want to emphasize what tribe they're from, which part of Zambia they're from, and whatnot. If we're going to speak as one Zambia, one nation, we have to be able to eradicate situations of tribalism. And the thing is that when people they're voting for somebody, their emphasis is based on tribalism. So if the person is from the same tribe as them, then they're more likely to vote for them, instead of looking at that person's track record and saying, okay, this person, what can he do for the Zambian people? If you have had people who have been placed in positions of power for a long time and they have never done anything for you, that's what you should be looking at. And you cannot look at that as the basis of why you're voting for somebody. Then you're part of the problem. And the people seated quiet and not saying anything or retracting their statements on how they condemn a corrupt government, they're part of the problem, because the thing is that they're living comfortably. There are thousands, if not millions of Zambians who are struggling to be able to get the basic necessities that are rights. They shouldn't be privileges, they should be a right. And the thing is that when you look at the situation in Zambia, where we have an electricity problem, where you have 22 hours of load shedding, that shouldn't be a case in Zambia. We have sunlight You should be able to implement people that are capable of understanding how to do things in the country. If you have situations like load shedding, you need to find somebody who's going to be able to find solutions to that, not be able to continuously release statements of saying, oh, well, we're trying to find solutions. When you're trying to find solutions, we need to be able to see that, okay, once you're looking for these solutions, you have found something that can be able to be sustainable for long term. And when you see situations like, hold on, let me find one of the points that I wanted to say.
So, Natasha, let me cut you there.
Yeah, for sure.
We shouldn't forget that ZESCO is partly owned by Chinese people. So the power cuts, it should be a way of also trying to collect money from. Peter Shakes, can you say something, please? Peter Shakes. Kaira. Peter Shakes. He can't hear. Hello? He can't hear. Okay, Emmanuel, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I wanted to concur with Herbert on one of the points Ray is saying. Maybe
something, Lillian. Can I say something? Can I just say something?
Herbert, on the issue of system that you said, I think it's also one of the challenges.
Okay, fine.
You see, the problem is, how do you get somebody who is into agriculture? You put them as Minister of Justice.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
There's a conflict in how you handle issues there. Certain people you have.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can. Are you able to hear me? Hello, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Manuel. I can hear you.
Your network is slow.
Yeah. So that's why we're saying the system also has a problem with this, because you can't promote someone who's done agriculture and you put them in an office where you have to deal with law. So that's a misappropriation of certain things. So also the system has a bigger problem in this. Because look at the qualifications of the parliament people there. They've been, a lot of people are misplaced. Agriculture, somebody is running justice. Somebody who's done sports and whatsoever, you're putting them in an office for accounts. How do you expect them to run things in a proper manner? ZESCO, you put somebody who's done, like really, it doesn't make sense.
And then you have a graduate sitting at home, and who is a graduate? A youth. So that's what we're fighting for. We're advocating for the youth of Zambia to be given opportunities so that they can at least, get jobs in Zambia. OJ Styles, what do you want to say? How are you?
Hi, Lily. How are you? Hello.
I'm fine, thank you.
Can you?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I think for us Zambians, we've been docile for quite some time now. Because looking at the things that has been happening in this country, it's high time we react. When you look at this movement, this movement that we've taken up as youths, we need to really ensure that we push it to the limit, because a lot of things has been wrong in this country. Starting with potato houses, inflated cost of these things that has been going on. But I was just disappointed with the remarks from the president. I was expecting him to do more in terms of the reaction from what is happening, and how Bowman Lusambo reacted to the cry of us Zambian youths. So for me, I think these people are not ready to dialogue with us as youths. So if we try to say we give them chance, maybe we do reconcile with them, I think it will work, because they have already showed us that they're not willing to listen. They're either using force.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because they are using force. Imagine how can the head of state give a directive to say, Kampiongo, be alert, do ABCD, make sure I arrest them. They are threatening us. They're imposing fear on us youth, but it's high time we need to act. We don't need to fear.
And that it should never be the case.
But the problem is we have too many fearful people.
It should never be the case.
We have too many fearful people.
No, but this time
they're
this time they're not fearful.
Okay, The greatest thing that you need to realize is that we only have one Zambia, and if we don't correct this thing, we just let it be. Believe you me, there will be no Zambia in the next 5 or 10 years. So the earlier the better. So you shouldn't be intimidated. We are not insulting anyone. It just concerns that people are raising.
No.
I mean, when you look at, if you look at what is happening, people are suffering.
They are.
There's a lot, and there's nowhere where one can point to say that.
True.
There's nowhere where they're doing better. Education has been neglected. Agriculture is nothing. Energy sector is nothing. Where can they point? So if you cry out to say, can you rectify ABCD? Can you be answerable? It's not the same as insulting.
Another
so
thing,
I don't know how you take it.
Another thing that I don't understand is
it's like the gold.
Yeah, the gold, or
it's like the gold.
Can I come in, Lillian? I think I agree with what OJ said.
Okay.
And I think it will just need to be radical. Hello, can you hear me, Lillian?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Alex, how are you? Hi, Alex. How are you? Oh, hide him and bring him back. Hi, Alex. Hello, Alex. How are you? Okay, OJ, you can carry on speaking whilst Herbert's network is still trying to come back. For me, what I was just saying is, how can the gold missing from a police station?
Exactly.
I'm not getting you.
Gold, which is worth 30 billion. I'm saying, how can the gold missing in Zambia at the police station go worth 30 billion kwacha or something? How can it go missing? And then we should keep quiet and fold our arms. Oh, the gold went missing.
Because nobody's gonna get held accountable, even if
the gold went missing.
Nobody's gonna be held accountable whether they use it or not. Because they know that if somebody takes it, if I take it and I know I'm in a position of power, I will never be found, because nobody ever uses the system to be able to look like, you see how there was the gassing. People said there was gassing. Nobody ever was caught to say, oh, this was the person behind this situation.
Yeah.
People do these things of corruption because they know that they will never get caught. They will never get held to justice. They're not going to be brought to justice. If we have a system that is separate, the government needs to be separate from the justice system. And that's when they're gonna be held accountable. You see how out here they use their system to be able to investigate presidents. You see how President Trump was brought to account. They brought up all the information of corruption and whatnot about him. It was aside from him. So he had no controlling power in that. So that's how Zambia has to work. If you have the legal system connected ties to the people who are ruling, then at the end of the day, like you see how Honorable Bowman Lusambo has been going around beating people. That is not right. That's infringing on somebody's human rights. You're not allowed to use force in that extent. If you're gonna be able to bring about change in a specific place, you have to be able to be amicable with the people around you. You can't tell me that you're going to use ways of dictatorship to infringe on the people that are you're governing. So I don't know. The thing is that I feel like we need to be able to have a state that is separate from the people who are in power. So the legal system has to be.
We shouldn't be stopped. Yeah.
And the police shouldn't be.
We should never be stopped. No minister has any right to say you can't speak if you speak. And I mean, Chela Tukuta has been having his series on his Facebook page where he mentions the names. This person did this, this person did. But we are just saying, we've heard the fire trucks. We've heard the 48 House. All we are asking for is accountability. All we're asking for is opportunities for the youths. We haven't said, no, you're the one who stole the money. No. But if we come on a platform like and say, we need answer, it is our right as Zambian citizens to request for answers. Because there's no way somebody would expect me to just watch them do whatever they like. You know, like the Chinese, they've come to them, they do whatever they like. We don't even know what's going on. Yeah, you can speak.
Okay, Lillian, can I say something? Okay, I think if you're playing a game like us who like football, you're playing with people who don't believe in the rules. I tell you, it's going to be trouble. We don't have systems that work. Let's just acknowledge that, and that's the reason people are taking advantage of whatever is happening. Our problems, number one, are self-made, and I think what Natasha is really talking about is functionable systems that bring people to accountability. People are answerable to the system, not people are answerable. Like, for example, she used the example of President Trump in America. We saw during the trial, you know, where everything was, he was subjected to the law. In this country, people don't believe in that. So the moment we need to redefine our country, we really need to say, okay, what's going to work for us? Let's put up systems. At the same time, the people in the systems must be credible, must be people without any stain. Why? Because if you have people who have got integrity, people who are qualified for those places to run in this, for those places in the system, we're going to have a better Zambia. I think OJ made a statement. AJ Styles made a statement. He said, "How do you have somebody who's done agriculture to run a legal to run the legal system? It doesn't make sense."
No.
Yes. So what we want is that we want. This is what I believe. Sometimes people may think maybe I stretch this, but the truth is, I think if we're going to have somebody who's going to be the Minister of Finance, we don't need a poor man. What I'm trying to say, we need people who are capable to run these systems.
Can I cut you off a little there?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I've seen how President Trump, he has a lot of money, but his interests are only lie. Some of his policies only lie towards the interests of the rich. So sometimes it's not even about riches; it's about what that person advocates for.
True.
So the thing is that you have to be able to look at track record and what the person advocates for, because money is not always the reason why somebody. Because some people might have stolen. You see what I'm saying? That money might be money that they've stolen from somewhere, and now they're rich, and now they're running for government or whatever. So like we have specific people who are running right now for and if you literally research, because a lot of us youth, we don't like to read, we don't know who these people are. You'll see people on Twitter and whatever tweeting all kinds of stuff and saying, oh, this is what I'm going to do for you, but we as the youth, we have not researched this person or researched whoever to see whether or not this person is really capable of doing this. Because the thing is that I've seen a lot of tweets all over, oh, I'm going to be able to do this for you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. What have you done up till now before you've even become president? That's what we need to look at. Because we have too many, and you see what I'm saying? And there is circulation of information when it comes to the young people. We're too, like, when we address the situation of the Matako mansion, Zambian girls busy shaking their bums online. And the thing is that when I went on that platform to say, hey, we have bigger issues in Zambia, I really meant it. Because the thing is that I've been reading about Zambia, even though I live in the diaspora, I've been reading about Zambia. I've read about what is going on. I keep myself informed. But our Zambian youth, they don't keep themselves informed, sorry to say. They're more interested in social media moguls. They're more interested in emulating things that are happening out here in North America, or shaking their bums, or because of the fact that Diddy is doing this, so I'm gonna do what Diddy is doing. If people were to actually come out here and see what most people do here, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing back home. You see what I'm saying? As Zambian youth, we need to take away these whole social media thing and say, oh, because this one is a slay queen on Instagram, I too want to aspire to be a slay queen, instead of looking at what's going on in the country and saying, hey, there's something wrong here. A lot of the youth don't even know that there was gold in Zambia. You see what I'm saying? They don't even know a lot of the things that have been going on. The Mukula situation. Nobody knows because they're not reading. They're more occupied in, oh, I want to get makeup. I want to get this. There's nothing wrong with those things, mind you. But the fact that there's a time and place for certain things, and now the time and place is for us to stand up for our country and say enough is enough. You see what I'm saying? And so Lily had a great point when she was saying that she addressed the situation of the Matako men and whatnot. She spoke about everything that's going on in Zambia, and she even brought out a video, you guys should go and watch it, about how Zambian youth are spending their times on Facebook. They don't know what is going on. So how do you expect them to be able to even speak on things that they don't know about? There are only a few of us who are informed. It's a shame. So when somebody is elected into power and
you see, let me stop you there. And you see, that's why it's a shock now that the president is even reacting, Campion, or they're all reacting. It's because they've never seen Zambian youth rising on social media, like to this gravity. This is the first time. This one is talking, because if you go on Movita See now, he does live streams for like an hour, talking and talking and talking. If you go to Chela doing live, he's talking. We took YouTube first before we came to Facebook. We've been talking for months on YouTube, and now that it has blown, they are confused, and those threats are empty because nobody has violated any right. Hi, Pretty M. Kombe, how are you?
Hello, Pretty.
All the way from Algeria.
Hi,
how are you?
Yeah, I hope my network is clear. I don't know if you can hear me loud and clear.
Tell us.
How is my network?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, you
tell us
and
what
clear.
you have to say. The president is saying anyone who speaks out. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so
hear
for
you.
me, I just have something. Okay. So as a youth, I feel like the government won't stop threatening us, you get? I feel like the arrest of those two youths is just to instill fear in us. I feel like that's even an example, like, okay, we've arrested these, so whoever tries to do something, they'll be instilled with fear, you know? So I feel like this threatening of youths won't stop. And I feel like we are so blessed. We are so blessed to be in this era with social media and stuff. So I feel like if we take action, we should stop. I mean, we've been discussing about these things, but I feel like once we take action, there'll be change. I feel like I'll give you an example of Algeria. I mean, Algeria, and just last year, there was this revolution and whatnot. These people protested for months. These people protested for about more than 3 months. Why? They wanted to take out their president because they couldn't see any change. And I saw their action. You know, I feel like I have a suggestion. If we're going to take action, I feel like we should just implement peace. We should do it in a peaceful way. I mean, why should they stop a protest if it's peaceful? For what reason? So I'm telling you, personally, this is Algeria, an Arabic state, right? So I thought, okay, you know what people say, like, there might be war and stuff like that. I even thought there would be war. But everything was so peaceful, and people would move with slogans saying, let's do this in peace, let's do this in peace. I saw the revolution. My parents would call me like, is everything going on well on that side? And I'm like, I don't know what happens. If I die here. Because I don't know what's happening. But these people...
Now that's a you.
Yeah, but these people did not stop, and I could see in the streets, people old people, the youth, and even children. There are even pics. You can even go Google, check for Algeria and whatnot. You will see pics of even babies. I mean, children following there.
Yesterday, the
Of
same
course,
thing here in Edmonton. It was the same thing.
yeah,
15,000 people came out. Over 15,000 people came out
yeah,
for the Black Lives Matter movement. So what Pretty is saying is really true. We have to protest it. It was difficult.
yeah. So like,
1,000
of
people.
course, the government is going to.
So that we have some
Of
people.
course, the government. What?
Maybe we should heed Dr. Nevas Mumba's
No, you
advice.
carry on.
Yeah, I'm saying that of course,
Yeah,
we're going
what
to
did
be
he say?
threatened. Yeah, I'm
I know,
saying that of course we're
sorry.
going. Yeah. Anyway, I can continue.
Yeah, carry on, Pretty. Carry on.
I'm saying that of course we're going to be threatened, but I feel like with actions. Personally, I have taken action, and please, as youth, be behind me. I mean, let's take action. We've got social media, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got whatnot. We can make a change. I feel like it starts with us, and if we just remain silent, nothing is going to happen. I'm telling you, you can also, as I was saying about the Algerian people, they continued until the president had to resign.
Yeah.
Why? They didn't like what was happening. People were being beneficiaries of the government, you see. People were benefiting from the president, just like what's happening in our country. So I feel like we should make a change. And if it means protesting, let's just maintain peace. Otherwise, we're not going to stop.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. So for those of you who don't know, Pretty M. Combe is a YouTuber, and I'm dropping her link and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's based in Algeria, and it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
So apparently people are trying to get into the studio and show.
I've been dropping.
I don't know what's going to happen now.
Okay.
More people want to come in.
Thank you for having me.
So, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You can stay a bit, Pretty. Okay. You can stay for now. Clemo Joshua, how are you? Hello? Clemo Joshua?
Thanks. Evening, everyone.
Herbert, you want to speak in?
Good evening.
Hello.
Sorry?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
How are you?
Hello. Are you able to get me?
Yeah, you can speak up.
Hey, thanks. How are you? Are you able to get me now?
Yeah, we can. You're very clear.
Okay, yeah. So that's why I take to put my headset. Okay, let me put my headset. Yeah, so basically I'm currently in Cape Town, South Africa. Yeah, but I'm from Zambia, yeah, and I've been following up with everything that has been happening on the ground. And I have really given a thumbs up to every youth for this opportunity that we have raised this time. I've been one of the person who have been looking forward to see a time and a day when youth could rise up and stand for our rights. So basically, looking at what's happening in our country, it's something that not even a 5-year-old child cannot understand. We know of governments that have come into place, they have been stealing, and by then we were young and we couldn't even tell that they have stolen something. But now coming to this, even a 5-year-old, to ask them about what is it, you realize that they all know. It's like the government we're under can no longer take opportunities and use them and you try to for the benefit of the country. But it's like they are using opportunities for themselves just to make themselves part of the money that they are getting on. And on the other hand, again, you know, sometimes I always see the sovereignty of God on the other hand, that how can these people stand and not even having the hearing ear, that they can become so arrogant? You know, every time when God wants to raise a man down, when God is planning to bring kings down, he always allows them to have a hard heart. We can think of Pharaoh, how God had a hard time with them, in spite of the miracles that were happening and how things were hard for them. This is what is happening with the arrogance of the TF. I'm telling you, the TF is fought and they are falling down. Everyone will be able to see. Because if the president was wise, the first thing he would have done, maybe he would have silenced his honorable minister, tell him, sit down, wait. Just silent, let the youth talk, they will be tired, rather than countering against the motion that the youth are carrying. You know, in every nation, every revolution starts with the youth. It's not a revolution that starts with old men. As you realize that every revival for young people, the potential, and you can never encounter the motion of young men. Young men have got the caliber, they have got the power to change things. So if you temper with young men don't want to have families, they don't have that they can do. They may not say, I'll be thinking about maybe my child will die, maybe there will be a problem in whatsoever that happens. Young people, they are so vibrant, and young people, they are not the people to temper with. And the good thing is, at this time, young men are not rising against the government because young people are influenced by the opposition. It is quite clear to each and everyone that it's not the opposition's hand that is in this place, but it's now the action that young people have seen. We have seen the lawlessness of the government. We have seen how the 48 houses have gone. We have seen how the fire trucks which were being brought in the country. We have how the economy has gone down. I remember the time I came to Cape Town, we used to hope if someone is sending you money from Zambia, they'll be like, oh wow, they are sending me money. But this time someone is sending you money from Zambia one-to-one. Sometimes Zambian kwacha is down. Then when you sit down, you ask yourself, what's the problem? And this problem doesn't seem to be ending. This problem is continuing. So basically, what I can say and what I can advise my youth, it's time that we need to rise up, and not our rising up on social media only, but we need to take a full action. But the beginning of everything is always better than nothing. So we know that we're in the right track, and if the president, they are thinking of threatening each and every one of us, I think that's just a lie. It's just a lie. They may not manage it. As soon as they realize their problem, as soon as they realize that there is something that is not well, the better. Because we are not stupid people that we can just rise from nowhere. We stop what we are doing. We take away all our fears and we say, okay, now let's attack the government. We are not stupid. We are not stupid. We are not foolish. So it's high time that the government has to sit down, to think through, and to see, to hear. If indeed they are a listening government, let their ears be opened at this time. Let them listen to what the youths are demanding for. Basically, we are not demanding for any position. We do not want to be in power.
No,
all what we are demanding is accountability. Are they accountable in what we are speaking to them? Are they accountable in what in the resources we have entrusted them with? Are they accountable with our God that God has given to us? Because it's not that when they become into government, all our resources becomes their resources and their family's resources. No, that's not the issue. The issue at hand is that if they are in power, we have chosen them to be in power so that they can they can be good stewards of what God has given to us. We have just invested our power into them, because all of us, we cannot become ministers, we cannot become MPs, all of us, we cannot go into State House and live in State House, but we need a representative. So by us entrusting them with our power, in the first place, it shows that we love them. Secondly, we are showing them that we trust them. Thirdly, we are acknowledging that they are our readers. But now, if our readers that we have put in power with our votes, they don't want to listen to us, then whom are they going to listen to? Are they going to listen to Chinese? Are they going to listen to outsiders? Are they going to listen to people who are coming and advising, who don't have any part into our nation? This is so sad. So it's time as a nation, when young youths have risen at this time, it's high time that we need to stand on our grounds, and it's high time that elders should realize and come to a point to know that it's our time, and this is our turn. Zambia has to rise.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you so much.
That's
wow.
good. That's good.
Wow.
You see, we have
pretty. What would you like to say?
Yeah, Lily. I think the other speaker has a.
OJ, how are you?
Fine. I'm back. How are you?
Yeah. What would you like to say?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I think the other speaker has highlighted quite some good. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Hello. Are you getting?
Yes.
Yeah. I was saying I was saying the previous speaker has highlighted some good points here. You know, the greatest thing that you have in Zambia is there's no rule of law, and there's no separation of powers. You know, the organs of the government are not independent. These are the same things where you see police are being paraded, directed, being kicked like a ball from center to center to instill fear on us citizens. And then the other thing is that these politicians, they are capitalizing on the ignorance of us Zambians. You know, I remember a situation where the PF Secretary General was saying, us, our voters are these taxi drivers, the marketeers, because they do not understand the economy. So, you know, how can someone say that it means he's undermining the citizens because they're ignorant? That's why this movement should go very far. We urge each and every youth to have a basic understanding of an economy. Yes. Because if each and every one of us has to know how the economy is run and how is able to see how things are being deteriorated in our own country, then it will help us make better decisions even in future.
And salaries of the people who are in power should be also something that everyone should know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because out here,
I've got a
when you have somebody who is in a leading position, or even just the pastors, when you go and Google major pastors, you will see their salaries. So that was just one point. Sorry. Continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you look at the same thing I was talking about,
you can speak, OJ.
Yeah, I mean, when I was talking, I'm still talking about the economy, because there's this notion for these politicians to say most of the people don't know how things are. They are ignorant. They are marketeers, etc. That's why when they just give them vitenges, any materials during campaigns, they're able to vote for them, which is very bad. So let's just make sure that at least we do proper sensitization, and then these leaders should be held accountable, because rights that we have as citizens, they shouldn't be violated. We need to ensure that we make sure everything is in place, and then there shouldn't be interference. That's why we have issues where these cabinet ministers which are there's a lot of red flag that's why I highlight in terms of corruption. But ACC, DEC, they've been quiet. Why? Because they're red. Those people, they need to be independent. Up to now, like these other issues we've been talking of, gassing. Gassing, we lost lives. There's a lot of people who lost lives through gassing. The child which was shot, other people were being shot. Quiet. And then the other thing that us leaders need to realize is that we've seen like what happened previous weeks where Mao Sampa was trying to do checks and balances on how these foreigners operate in terms of the Chinese. He was made to apologize for closing a barber shop.
Yeah.
Now imagine we have our own private TV station like Private TV for our fellow Zambian, which has been closed, and none of us rose against it. We are quiet, we are seated just like if you are just watching. You know, when you look at that, there are people who are employed that side. People have lost jobs. People are not earning anything, and that's a Zambian. If someone who's opened a barber shop, you can make a man apologize. What of a private radio station, radio or TV station, or from our people?
Imagine
just like that. So I feel like if we rose up even before, even the same time that issue of Prime TV was affected in terms of the closure, I think we would have influenced in some way such that the decision by government.
Yes, that was the time.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But you know, somebody was saying this, that the reason why they closed Prime TV around this time is because coronavirus. They know that there's this social distancing rule, so you protest.
No, you know,
that's what.
Yeah, sorry to cut you short. Remember when the government had the meeting with private-owned media owners? They were lobbying that they start adding messages of COVID-19 for free. And then the Prime TV proprietor was a representative for all media owners. And then government is still owning these private media companies a lot of money. So he rose to put a motion to say, you still own us money, but there's no way you can do it for free. Maybe we do it at a reduced amount. But you know, the way government reacted, he was single-handed out to say your private state, you don't want to help the government. But in the actual sense, that person was a representative. So it was somehow political because that was the only mouthpiece for the opposition. Right now in Zambia, which other media station is the mouthpiece for the opposition?
Can I just add on? Can I just add on that? I just feel that the problem we have in Zambia is that politics has polarized every aspect of our society. Everything is political. And at the end of the day, because of politics, just go fast, it's politics. Anywhere you just place your eyes on, it's politics. The moment, this is why Zambia still has got a long way in terms of just removing ourselves from all this mixture of just this bad, I don't even know how to call it. It's a web of confusion. We really need to it will take time, but what we I think I agree with what OJ said. The moment we just separate politics to real issues and development, I think we will do well as a country. The problem is that all of us we're just all webbed into this political atmosphere, and the moment we separate politics and place politics to where it's supposed to be and go in for the right things, right systems, governances, separation of power, and all these other variables, I promise you, we will really be on a highway of development. The problem again we have in Zambia is that we are passive. Let's just accept that we are a passive people. It doesn't hate us. We are not moved. We are so docile. You see, at the end of the day, for example, when the post was closed, how was the reaction? Okay, the post has gone, member talks too much. Prime TV, okay, Prime TV. But you see, that was the beginning of us losing our place in this democratic dispensation. So I think with my few words, I just want to say to all of us is that I think Let me just highlight another weakness. We are never consistent.
Yeah.
We are not a consistent people. And I think it goes deep to our identity as a people. Who are we? Because you see, if you go deep, I think Dr. Shishua did a very massive write-up some time back, and he said, we are our leaders. So it goes down to the individual. What type of leaders do we want? Before you vote, you have to look deep into your heart and say, okay, if I'm going to vote that person, why? We don't ask questions, we don't interrogate. All we do is just move with the wave of whatever's happening. And at the end of the day, we are where we are. Yes. Yeah. So we are where we are. And at the end of the day, again, what Zambia needs is we need to think. We need to go deeper in our being so that we'll be able to come up with the right resolve. So I think 2021 again is not the solution, because we will just remove, we may just remove, let's assume we remove the PF, whoever comes in, as long as the systems are the same, it will be the same old story. So we need to do a lot of dismantling and fixing and building. I think I would have loved to continue, guys, but I have possibilities to deal with, but I hope to join you soon. So thank you, Lily. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Awesome. Can you hear me? Hello. Hi, Lily.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Wilfred, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, because the nature of my work, I have to try and keep my face off the screen for reasons.
That's good.
It's good. You're identifying the problems. This is good. And you're talking about it. And the leaders are hearing about it. But there needs to be a strategic approach to getting solutions to the problem. The people, I mean, an individual, if you are to take this upon yourself as an individual, you're going to face many challenges. Maybe they might just try to use you as an example, to create fear among the people. There has to be a coordinated and strategic approach. You've identified the problems. The youth have identified the problems. You have to come together and find a way to present this, not just to the government that is in office now, but to the government or whoever is running for office, because they have to understand that they are not there to dictate for the people, but rather to serve the people. The government is elected by the people to serve the people, not to suppress the people. This is not the 60s or whatever. I mean, you got independence so long. I mean, what do you have to show for all these years of independence? And yes, we identify the problems. You have to create a structure. You have to create a system of youth, but you also want to get your religious leaders, because yes, Zambia is a religious country. It's considered a Christian nation. You have to get the religious leaders also involved. You have to get the people who understand the issues that are burning deep down at the core of the people. Because from all my observations, many of these politicians, MPs, or whatever you call them, I call them jokers, they are not qualified for the position that they are holding. What's the vetting process? How do you deal with corruption? What systems are in place to make sure that someone who comes in with a house and maybe a donkey, I'm just using this as an example. What process do you have in place to make sure that someone who comes into a position of leadership or a minister with a house and maybe a bicycle, what system do you have in place to ensure at the end of that person's term that what they possess does not exaggerate their salary or the time that they spend there? You have to have systems in place. Every minister must sign a document that says, this is what I have. And at the end of their time, you evaluate what they're leaving with to determine if corruption is in place. There has to be a systematic and strategic approach to people. I mean, yes, you can't, I mean, you're aware of it, but what are you going to do? There has to be a strategic approach, or else, trust me, guys, trust me. nothing is going to change. You're going to have more of the same, and it's going to go and repeat. It's going to go and repeat, and it's going to be the same thing. There has to be a strategic approach.
Yes.
Youths have to speak with their parents, their grandparents, and explain to them the challenges, the problems that they face, because in doing so, you get them to be a part of the movement, because you don't just want the youth involved, you want the elders also involved. When you go home and you tell your mom, I can't find a job, we're struggling, I don't know what my future looks like, that's a burden to your parents as well. When your parents tell that to their parents, then it becomes a bigger problem. You know, I mean, you look at, and I'm not talking about violent protests here. I'm talking about, you know, educated, intelligent, peaceful, you know, demonstration. When you look at Hong Kong, at first everybody was talking about the youths. It was all about the youths. The Chinese government, they were focused on the youths, but they didn't realize at one point that the parents or the elderly folk would come out and stand with the youth, because at some point they understood what was at risk here. Our children's future was at risk. And if your parents don't understand the extent to which you are affected by this, then you're going to have a problem.
That's
it
true.
has to be coordinated. It has to be, you know, a unit. You can't be all over the place. It is not going to create the change that is necessary. And
very true.
You also have to learn your constitution. You have to, I recommend that every young individual in Zambia get a hold of their constitution and read it, so you can understand what are the limits of your government, who can run for elected office again, because according to your constitution, one person cannot be elected twice.
Yeah, I have been speaking to your
constitution. It was modified to say that one person cannot hold office twice. You have to understand your constitution, because you want to know how your leaders are changing the constitutions to their benefit, so they can continue to take advantage of the people. Something that I discovered earlier this week is that the Chinese, they are selling lands in Zambia.
Yes.
How is that possible? How is it that you have investors who are supposed to be paying the people, selling the land to the people or whomever they wish? You have to look at the systems that are in place. You have to look at what's taking place, and you have to come together with a strategic approach in how you're going to address this. You demand change from your government as a unit, as a unified body. You demand change from your government. Let them know that they are there to serve the people, and when they don't, then you get them out of there. And whoever going in have to understand that this is what you need, this is what you expect. As a matter of fact, the people, the youths, there should be
Ricardo. Ricardo.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
Ricardo, we're still in today. Just today, the president has issued, he was talking, Ricardo, just today the president was speaking, and he stated that anybody who, uses social media to talk about them will be dealt with. And then another minister, Kampyongo, has also spoken, and he says he's involving the police, he's involving everyone, so the youth should stop talking on social media. What would you say about that type of intimidation?
Going back to what I was saying before, your constitution. Your constitution gives you freedom of expression, freedom of speech. You speaking about your president does not endanger your president. You speaking to your president is not threatening your president. You expressing your displeasure or the pain that you are dealing with because of the unemployment rate, whatever, the corruption, whatever. It is not a crime. It is not lawlessness. It's called freedom of expression. You read your constitution and it will tell you there that you have that. The president, unless for some reason the president is a dictator or he's modeling, the governance of the country by Chinese terms, because it's only in Russia and China that you can't speak of your government and your life is, it's only in Russia and China where you speak of your government and your life is threatened. So This is not a violation of
the Constitution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are free. This is how your president knows that the people are not happy. It's by you speaking. The idea that whatever his name, honestly, it's annoying. It's painful to even watch this guy on the TV. But his idea that they have 40 whatever people you can go and speak to. This is nonsense. The people don't need to come to you and speak to you directly for what? For you to tell them keep quiet? I mean, for you to find your way to get at them when they step out of the door? As a unit, as an organized body, the people can peacefully express their disgust, their displeasure, the pain, the hurt that they're feeling about what's going on. There are many ways in which this government can create employment for its people. You have crumbling universities, you have insufficient, educational facilities, you have an immigration system where Chinese and Indians are coming in and out. There are ways that the government can create employment for the people, but it's not happening because everybody's there filling their pocket. You're free to speak against what's going on. There's nothing in your constitution that says you can't. But the thing is, the people have to do it together. You can't be attempting it as an individual, as a peer, or a group of three. It has to be, you need a force with it. It's easy for the government to suppress one or two people. It's impossible for the government to suppress all its people. Impossible.
Lily, maybe let me just come in. I've liked the way Ricardo has expressed, but the most difficult thing is that it's difficult to work with people that abuse power. Right now in Zambia, we might say we are under autocratic rather than democratic state. So, like in this instance, if we want to do a peaceful demonstration, to show our grievances, to show our anger, how are we going to do it? The president has given directive to the Minister of Home Affairs. And again, if you try to speak on this forum like Facebook, this using social media platform, they're saying they are collaborating with ZICTA, etc., and they start single sourcing people who are spreading such news. So it's very difficult. That's why with this period which is remaining, in as much as we might be suppressed to do whatever we want to do, I think the greatest thing that we need is just to keep on sensitizing, and then the only solution is change of government. Of course, the system is rotten, but we've had instances before of red flag, and then some corrupt tendencies that have been reported to ACC. You've ministers that came in with nothing, but they've amassed so much.
Yeah.
We have someone minister who gets a salary below almost 50,000, but goes to donate minimum wage worth 1.5 trucks, etc. But nothing has been done. So people who abuse power is very difficult. So I don't know what type of move that you are going to use as youth. Maybe we can advise.
Well, you see the thing, OJ, and this is the problem with the government, and this is the lack of hearing. This is a lack of empathy. This is a lack of understanding with the government. Because
some people
if the government if the government cared about change, first thing, the government would not be threatening the people. First thing, what the government would be doing would be establish platforms or having meetings or, create the appropriate methods or means by which people can speak to them or express to them what's going on. The fact that you are going about as a government with threats, it means that you're not willing to make changes. It means that you're not understanding what's going on with the people. And when this is what's happening, then the people have no choice but to turn to themselves, gather themselves, and find ways in which to address these problems. I'm not talking about violence and, rioting and all that. I'm talking about intelligent demonstration, intelligent protest. You know, let your words and your togetherness be the loudest speaker to the government. You know, because at the end of the day, going about with rioting, it only create more destruction, you know, in a country that is developing, that is still struggling to grow economically. You know, so you don't want that, because it doesn't help. But the people should be able to express their concerns, and a caring government, a government that is there to serve the people will understand this more than anything else. And when this is not happening, then you have to ask yourself, what kind of men do you have leading you into what future? Because here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. And I'm not trying to boast here. I'm in the US, okay? I'm in the US. And God knows, I mean, I can think of many places I can flee to if the situation gets worse here. What are the youths of Zambia supposed to do if, God knows, if it's taken over by Chinese? What are they supposed to do?
I'll give chance for somebody else to come onto the platform. I'll be just in the background watching. So I'll see.
People are trying to enter the studio. Just stay in the background, Natasha.
Yes,
Ricardo, you can carry on. So Natasha exits to come. People
you cannot be fear. Fear has no place in the heart of any man or woman who is looking for real change. And the thing is, you're not asking, you know, the people are not asking for diamonds on their table. You know, they are not asking for a Lamborghini. They are asking for basic human rights. It's the responsibility of the government to create opportunities, put policies in place that will take the people forward, that will develop the people. I will give you a term: political economy. Think of that. Keep that in mind. Political economy, and you research what that term means, and you would understand. And your government knows about this. They know the term. Political economy deals with, you know, the freedom of the people, the distribution of wealth or opportunities, the creation of opportunities for the people. The government knows about this. They travel the world, they meet with world leaders. They know these things. It's the responsibility of the government to create opportunities, put in place policies that would lift the people out of poverty. China, and Lily, I mentioned this in one of your shows. I think last week, China in 30 years has lifted more than 700 million of its citizens out of poverty. Their plan was that by 2020 was to lift all of its people out of poverty. Coronavirus stepped in, and it affected, of course, their plan. That's the plan. That's what government is responsible for. Creating opportunities, putting in place policies to lift the people out of poverty. So how could the people be threatening the government for asking them to do what they're supposed to do? So this is why the people need to come together as one. No one needs to attempt this on their own. The people need to come together and find a way to present their concerns to the government, and the government has a responsibility to listen to the concerns of the people. I'm going to say to you, no one should attempt doing this on their own. It will not go well. Unity is what it's going to take.
Now, you see, just someone protest. We have 3 groups, so we thought, why not just have one? We decided to form one, and then to go with was like, oh no, there's been a change, and then we just see an announcement all over social media to say, oh, on the 22nd of June, we are protesting. Just wear plain clothing. And I'm like, we were supposed to do this together as a team, regardless of which group you belong to. So how can we move forward already, even within the protesting, people are already trying to divide this one, because there's this issue of people wanting to take the glory, like it was because of me that this happened. But if we're doing that, we won't go anywhere.
Can I come in, Lillian?
We belong to different groups. We belong to different churches. Even when it comes to protesting, we have to do it together as a team. If there's one,
she's not hearing you.
Yeah.
Can I comment on that issue, Lily?
Can I come in, Lillian?
I think Herbert can go first.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think if we look at what happened in North Africa, if we understand what happened in North Africa, there was if you look at the what you call the North African Spring, the Arab Spring, it was a leaderless revolution. And I think people had come, people had connected in their hearts, and there was this tethering, there was this connection, where people just knew what they needed. Yes. And I think right now it's not time to become a superstar. It's not about me, it's about us. So we need to find in our hearts where we can connect and just say, okay, this is ours, So I think it even goes just beyond about, okay, how we dress or how we do about it, but it's the energy and the drive that we need to achieve what we are looking for. So I think, as I said one thing with us is that, the moment we kill the passive aspect in us, we are going to achieve a lot of great things. And I think as Ricardo has alluded, that it will need a very smart strategy in order for us to achieve what we are looking for. So I think it all comes back to putting aside the hero aspect and coming to a place of we are one people. My neighbor, it's like love your neighbor as you love yourself. It is me holding your hand, you holding OJ Styles' hand, Joshua is also holding Natasha. It's like that kind of chain. So I think that's what I would say for now.
Yeah. Can I give a comment on that one, Lily? This is now.
Somebody now there's somebody wants to talk now. Is in. Hi, now. How are you? Yes.
Thank you, Lily. I'm fine, and I hope everyone is okay, and it's good to be on this platform. Firstly, I would like to indicate that I'm one of the people who was at the police station, helping to push for that police permit for the protest that is scheduled for the 22nd of June. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions that have been placed on the protest. And I think one of the things that I would like to clear out with regards to the video that circulated a bit later today in the evenings around the protest not being branded. Now, you'd have to understand that I was one of the people who helped organize the protest that took part on Bill 10, that took part at Parliament grounds, where we were stoned by cadres. I'm part of the people who organized the other protests that took part a few years ago, again at Parliament, where we were stoned by cadres for the second time. One of the things that you have to understand is that, firstly, on the second protest, what happened is that it was free flow for everyone to come the way they wanted to dress. Now, what happened is that you had people coming from political parties, coming dressed in their political party regalia, and championing the narrative that the protest is owned by a political party. Then the second time it happened, people came in organizational wear. So you had a section of people that had T-shirts that were branded belonging to an organization. Now you had people questioning, people who did not have access to those T-shirts began to question, to say, so it means that some people got a grant to do this protest. Now, the context that we live in is a highly political environment. The Patriotic Front, and I mean, I'm just going to be direct about it. The Patriotic Front is a tyrant government. It is a tyrant people who have got an agenda to rule for a longer time, and they want to suppress the people. There are people who are intelligent, who will employ counter-revolutionary measures to ensure that the voices of the young people are not heard. Some of those counter-revolutionary measures include infiltrating a protest movement and resistance movements to have them appear like they are sponsoring a particular agenda. If you heard the speech of Mr. Edgar Lungu today, when he spoke in Southern Province, he said, we have heard that there are civil society organizations that are paying people to be part of the protest. And already you have questions that are coming out from people to say who is organizing it, who is branding it, and so on and so forth. Now, the decision behind having people come dressed in black, you can carry a placard that has got a message that is dependent on what you want to communicate. But the decision around having people dress in black is based on not misinterpreting that the protest is sponsored by certain people. Now, it is also a form of fighting inequality because not everyone is going to have access to t-shirts that are branded. So if your organization can manage to make 300 t-shirts and you give 300 people, and then you have got 700 people that don't have access to those t-shirts who demand to have those t-shirts. If you remember what happened with the UNZA protest that took place last time, the failed UNZA protest that wanted to take place last time, one of the challenges they had is that they had about 50 t-shirts and they had over 500 students protesting. So when 50 students got the t-shirts, the other students claimed that those students were sponsored with the t-shirts. So therefore, they were not going to protest when others are sponsored with money. So that was the decision around the t-shirts. Now, when you talk about a leaderless movement, that's fine. I agree with that. And to be honest with you, if you've seen what the 22nd August protest has been built around, it has got no hashtag. And has been built around the fact that there's got no hashtag. There's no hashtag around it. There's no poster around it. There's no event created around it. There's no Facebook page created around it. It is just an event. And even the names of the people who applied at the police station are not mentioned. I was part of the people who went to a police station, but I'm not part of the people who signed that document at the police station. There are many others that signed that document who have been in the background. But we said for the purpose of communicating this, may we find someone who came up, who was part of the people who went to sign in, who can be the one that can communicate some of the many things that we are saying the protest must be. It is not a structured protest. And so we don't want to structure it by having it tagged to a particular group of organizers, and create that set of inequality that happens in most protests where people begin to have these ones that the organizers, they're the leaders, they've got the t-shirts. You can see from their t-shirts. Everyone can afford a black t-shirt. Almost everyone has got maybe access to a black t-shirt, and it doesn't create room for political mismessaging. And I think that's what I wanted to make clear. Coming to the other point, just in under 2 minutes, raised by Ricardo to say there's need to strategize and around uprising and working together in unity. Now, what you have to understand is that we're dealing with a group of people that have invested so much money in ensuring that they maintain power. They have invested so much money, and we cannot afford to underrate the intelligence levels of the people that we're dealing with. I think that's the biggest mistake that we can ever make, to underrate the intelligent levels. This is an intelligent bunch of people who are determined to keep power at any means necessary. To begin to then wait, because look, it's been 4 years now. It's been 4 years of hardship. It's been 9 years of thuggery and so on and so forth. To then say to ourselves that let's begin to wait until we can form a united coalition for us to then press on. We don't have that time because people are taken over by political interests. What I understand about revolutions is that you spark the interest and people join at a certain point. The Arab Springs did not just start from the blues. They did not just spark. They started at a certain point. Look at the Fees Must Fall movement of South Africa, how it started. It started as Roads Must Fall, then it went to Vis Must Fall, it went to Van Riebeck Must Fall, and soon enough you had people uniting over a cause because it started with small sparks of actions. Now, what we should be doing is supporting each and every effort that has come out that speaks towards the progress of some sort of resistance. At the end of the day, what we need is people to speak, regardless of the medium that they use. When we begin to talk about unity now, it will take a lot of time because the people who we are working with are going to employ counter-revolutionaries. They are thugs. They're going to employ thugs who are going to infiltrate the systems and make sure that that unity is not achieved. So we need to begin to speak out now individuality. When unity comes, it will come. That's what I understand about revolution.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Hello? Now, I think it's not gone. So we've got some clarity now from Nawa.
Yeah, I'm here. So I muted my microphone after speaking.
Okay. So now it would be nice to have you as well on more. it would be nice to have you even on more live stream, because we just thought we'd just be 5 people doing the live stream, and all of a sudden we've got lots of people coming on. It was not planned. We're just reacting to the president's speech. So it would be nice for, I've sent you a message on Facebook, so we can plan a live stream, proper live stream. And others are asking, can we have a timer? We didn't know that a lot of people will come on board. We just thought we'll just do it for, you know, a few minutes, and then people started coming on board. But Ricardo, what do you have to say after hearing that?
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes. What do you have to say after hearing that?
Okay, but yeah, I mean, a lot of what he says makes sense. But if like he said, thugs, if you are dealing, and of course I am aware of, you know, the politicians who get in power, and, you know, the monies that they pay, you know, to of course win. But you can look through history, and you can see you can see the many men and women who try to use their money and their position of influence to get into power, but were not successful. Why? Because the people said, no, we will not be bought. We are not for sale. And this is why I said earlier, the youth need to speak with their parents. Those parents need to speak with their own parents. In other words, help them understand, you know, what the future is like, or where the future is heading. You know, I mean, well, not where it's heading, but the kind of future, you know, their grandchildren are likely to live in, and the challenges they are likely to face. Because then when my parents understand my suffering, or the possibility of me having a much harder life than they do, then it becomes their concern. It becomes their concern. And this is why I said, you know, you have to have a proper approach to this whole thing. Because if you have 10 cities on strike or protesting at the same time, then how do you attack all 10 cities? You know, is it possible to happen? I mean, for it to happen, yes, it's possible. But in other words, when you have such large scale action, you know, taking place by the people, and the international community is witnessing this, then the fallout for the current government will not be a pleasant one. The fallout will never be a pleasant one. It will not. And this is why I was saying you have to have a strategic approach, because you don't want this to just be something that's domesticated. You don't want this to be something that is only seen by the people in Zambia. It has to be something larger than this, because Zambia, what is it going to do when the international community is basically lashing out against the treatment of its people? You have to have a proper approach. And this is not a political matter. Yes, you would say politics is involved, but you're talking about the issues that the people face regardless of what political party is there. So you imagine that, you know what, this is 2021 and you're in the same position with a new government. It is more than just a political matter. It is the difficulties and the challenges that the people are facing, because the policies that should be in place to lift the people out of poverty, create opportunity for them, they are not in place. And this is why I said, you know, you have to come up, you identify the problems, you create a list of these problems, and you find a way to present them to the government. I'm not saying that you don't give the government an opportunity here. The idea is for the government to understand what the people are facing. Now, I believe the president, you know, has good intentions, but somehow he's surrounded by a lot of bad people that don't have.
I don't think he has good intentions. Let's be honest. Well, I don't think he has any.
Okay, so Wilfred. Wilfred.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I love the platform. You know, as much as we are trying to do to come out as youths, what I'd love to urge each and everyone is that first, let's focus on organizing ourselves economically, because that's the most important thing. Whatever we are doing, without a proper structure on the economic side, we'll never achieve anything. You know, these people have been in power. They travel a lot. They've got all the connections they have in order for them to source for funds. But if we just gonna come out and say, no, those people have got, you know, interest in political affiliation, they, you know, they'll get there. But the problem is that they don't have funds. So as the young people of, you know, today, this generation, it will be very important we focus much on the economic aspect than the political aspect. You see, the people who are in power, yeah, they've got their own qualifications, but the problem is they're thinking about when they leave that office, what are they going to do? Now, we've got more young people who are educated right now. So let's try by all means to build the economy aspect to support whatever movement which is being, you know, which is in front of us. I think that's where it will be easier for us to achieve whatever we will come up with.
But how do you
so obviously
that?
Like
can I comment on the economic stuff that Wilfred has raised?
But how do you present that to youths, educated youths who do not have opportunities? There has to be a starting place, and the starting place has to be policies that are in place to lift the people, create opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, you take for example, you have an immigration system created where visitors come to your country, they have to pay for a visa, they can't stay more than a year, they can't stay more than a certain length of time, because why? It creates revenue, and that revenue in turn, the government use that to create other opportunities for, it's like a ripple effect, you know. But if the youths are educated and they don't have jobs, then we can't expect them to somehow miraculously create an economic situation. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to address the failure of not having, of policies that should be in place. First thing, lift the people economically. You know, yes, they are in power, they have the money. Why? They have the money because they've been siphoning it out of the government to fill their pocket, as opposed to reinvesting it into the country and create opportunities for the people. I mean, you look at I saw a picture of the University of Zambia, and I wanted to know if this is some, I don't know, hellhole of some sort of the other. Invest in opportunities, educate the people. But you see what happened, okay? In order for you to suppress a people, in order for you to keep a people down, you don't provide education to them. You don't want, if your intention is to control the people, then you deny them of information, education, and all these things. You keep them begging. Because if you provide the right opportunities for them where they can lift themselves, then they're going to challenge you. They're going to be in a position to question you. But look at what's going on. The youths are unemployed. They don't know what's going on. They have education and they don't have opportunities. You can't expect some miraculous economic outcome from that. And this is the current situation. This needs to be addressed. We can't sit down and say, let's wait until the youths are economically viable, because that's what we're trying to address. The failure of economic opportunities for the youths. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much. Just add on to that, Ricardo. I am a young Zambian who is unemployed. I'm looking for employment. I can't do business. I am a farmer. I can't do business because the environment is not conducive enough for me to farm. I don't have means and ways to make my economic progress. And the reason why I don't have means and ways to make my economic progress is because there are people who are controlling the environment and have made it so elitist that only those who are connected to them are the ones that can make it. So how then do I sit down and wait until the good Lord appeals to their heart to decide to stop enriching themselves and help me? That will not happen. So the reason why I am angry, the reason why a lot of young people are angry is because they don't have money. They want money, they can't find it because the environment doesn't allow them to find that money. That's number one. Number two, if we say that we wait for us to have money before we can actually stand out and speak about injustices, it will never happen, because government ministers get paid in excess of over 300,000 kwacha per month. That is how much they make per month. Because if someone is able to donate COVID-19 equipment, materials worth 948,000 kwacha in their constituency, that means they make over 300,000 kwacha per month. So When am I going to make that 300,000 kwacha for me to be able to challenge them economically? That means I must wait for another 15 years, for another 20 years. And by then I'll be the old tyrant in government. So if young people don't speak out now, then it means they will never speak out at any point. There is no point that we're going to have more money than those that are in government. And that is why we want to fight them so they can be equitable redistribution of wealth.
Yes, now, and this is what I'm talking about. The people need to speak out. You need to have a strategic approach in place, because you need to present to the government, policies, change in policy, for the government to establish policies, and put systems in place that will create opportunities for the people. And this is the same thing that we're talking about here. I mentioned earlier on about corruption. What systems are in place, to ensure that the politicians and the people who are supposed to be working for the benefit of the people are not just doing it for themselves or the cronies or their immediate families, while the masses who put them in power or put them in position of leadership, they are doing nothing for them. So there needs to be these, and this is what I'm talking, and this is what I've been saying from day one. There need to be systems and policies in place that would create opportunities for the benefit of the people. Now, if I'm a leader, if I'm the leader of a country, I know my time is short-lived. And I have to do one of two things. Okay, hear me. I have to do one of two things. I'm either gonna have to rob that country blind, or put myself in a place of position that when I come out, I can use my experience to the benefit of the people and continue making money. It's going to be one of two things. If you look at, for example, I'm going to use the US. A lot of the US presidents, when they leave, they go and they give consulting advice, or they speak, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars for speech. Because why? They did not rob the country blind. I mean, of course, there's some level of corruption somewhere, but I'm just giving you the best case scenario. They did not rob the country blind. So they have won the trust and confidence of the people so much so that they can ask them back to speak on their behalf, to come and speak to the youth about, opportunities and these kind of things. That's what you're supposed to do as a leader. There's a difference between leaders and bosses. What you have are bosses that tell you what to do, and you're supposed to do what they say. No, there's a difference between leaders and bosses. What the country needs are leaders who listen and understand the concerns of the people, implement policies and systems, put them in place to benefit the youth, because a country without its youth will go down the drain. I'm telling you, a country without its youth will go down. It will never go up. You see China that's moving forward so fast. You see America that's continue to growing. It's because systems were in place to provide opportunities for the youths. I mean, your president is not 21, and in a few years, he's not going to be able to contribute much to the country. It's people like you who would have to fill in his shoe when the time comes. There's need for policies and systems in place. Agriculture, you're talking about agriculture. Yes. Let me give you something. 3 areas. Everyone have to eat food. If you don't eat, you're gonna die. If you're in the food business, if you're providing food for people and you're not making it, something is wrong with the systems that are in place. Nobody can walk naked. Yes, you can walk naked, but it's against the law. So if you're providing clothing to cover people, you're doing fine. And then everybody needs a place to sleep. So if you're in the business of providing housing for people, it's fine. Of course, healthcare is important because you want to stay healthy. But I'm just giving you the 3 basic things. People need food, they need clothes on their back, and a place to sleep. The government can implement policies and systems to create opportunities in these key areas as well as the other. Today, technology is pivotal for any government. If your government is still going through the process of writing things on paper, then they're not up to speed with the times. So it's going back to what I said. The government has a responsibility to implement policies and systems that will benefit the people, create opportunities. The Chinese are coming and they are supposed to be investors, they say, but somehow the people are still struggling, which means the investors are not creating opportunities for the people. Lily, I will leave this. I will give an opportunity for someone else to speak. And like I said, it's not something that anyone should attempt to do on their own. It required a unified front. You're not going in there with guns and bombs or what have you. You're going in there to express your concerns and the pain that you feel as a people from the failure of the government. That's not a crime, and it's not lawlessness.
And
just thank you so much, Ricardo. I hope we'll have you again tomorrow, Ricardo. Ricardo doesn't understand what's like. Why are you allowing? Mumbi is around. Is that the same Mumbi, the one who's in the background? Hi, Nawa.
Yeah. I just wanted to say something.
Is that
you see
the Mumbi that is showing? Who's the Mumbi that is showing?
Yes, I think.
Hi, Mumbi. How are you?
Hi, Lucy. How is everyone? Hi, team.
Imagine we just meet on the live stream.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. We just meet on the live stream. Everybody was asking like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I'm like, I don't know about any protest. So at least now I've explained what we were not aware of. I'm like, a lot of people are asking questions, and then the president a statement. And then you need to reduce the volume and then the president a statement. Dylan, do you have volume? Reduce the volume and do you have any device on?
Okay.
Dylan, do you have volume? Okay, Mumbi, how are you? Yeah, Mumbi, do you want to say something?
The mic is mute.
Hello?
Hi, can I speak?
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
I've got a question
Dylan,
for
how are
Nawa.
you?
It's De Leon. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
You look so young, but your voice is deep. You people should be sleeping. We thought we were going to have this live stream with people from other parts of the world, and I'm shocked that Zambians are watching this time.
Yeah, thank you
How are
very
you?
much. And we're in the waiting room, I think, in numbers. You'll be shocked because everyone is online looking for someone who's active right now. That's how I came upon you guys, because everyone wants to see where they can channel their frustration. Okay, so us being here, I think if we are really going to do something, we really have to provide that channel. Like what's his name, Mr. Ara said. Yeah. So for me, I don't know, as the youth, we've got, for me personally, the frustration that I have is because when you analyze the environment that we're in, it's not really making sense, because there's no way you have one guy acting like a hero, starting from the mayor, he acts like a hero, and then you have these other guys asking him to apologize, and then he actually apologizes. And then we wait for the president's statement, because I had confidence for a short while. I had confidence to say, the president is a lawyer. He knows the law. So the fact that his ministers made such an altering statement, I expect the president to come and say, okay, no, this is wrong, apologize. Okay, so I expected an apology somewhere, or some controlling. Then what does he do? He comes online today and says, anyone who comes on social media, we're going to what? What type of an environment is that? The lawyer that I trusted has disappointed me today. So now every Zambian youth is now like, what the hell is going on? On top of that, you look up those people who go forefront to do, they literally go to the police to get a permit, and the same police lock them up after giving them a permit. You see, you give them the permit, they walk away, they make their videos, and then you reconsider, you make phone calls to your corrupt posters or whatever, and then you bring it back down and say, capture them. What is that? Now, before we even go further, what police station is that? I don't want to forget to ask this question.
Lusaka Central Police.
Or Walpa Central. Okay. You see, we as the youth we're the largest population in the country. This is a youthful country. Okay. And for me, personally, personally for me, I would like to paint a picture to say these kinds of things can't happen in Zambia if we are the ones in control. There's no way you can have leaders breaking the law directly in your face, and we fail to hold them accountable, because the Constitution allows us to put leaders in place, right? But it also gives us a provision to make them step down when they do something wrong. And that's the thing we should focus on. So like Ronald said, we need to target that point. We need to gather the numbers, and we need to, all these human rights, whatever associations functioning in Zambia, they shouldn't be wasting our time with with their Facebook adverts of them being human rights. They should show us right now that they are really human rights activist group, and they should back us up on this. So us here, we should lead the way. Biflo is already leading the way. Mampi is already leading the way. But we should all team up and make one movement and show that the youth know the constitution.
Yes.
And the youth that these people knew in 1980 is not the youth that we are now. We are very knowledgeable now. We know the constitution very well, and we are learning at a very fast rate. So we take that law and we use it to our advantage, and we make things work, and we show them to say, even we in America, you can't go online and tell a citizen to apologize. It can't happen. That's the foolishness which we need to remove. That picture, we need to paint it right now in Zambia. So that foolishness, if they have mamo, you ask me to apologize, I challenge you. Come and make me apologize because I tell you I'm not happy with you. You'll be facing me in front of your attorney general. That's the mentality that every youth should have and that's the mentality that you and I should think. For me, that's what I'm advocating for. We need to change our mindset. People are afraid to rise up. So let us rise up as we're already rising up. The new guys who are afraid to rise up, what the hell? You are going to be in this country for the rest of your life, most of you, if you don't start fighting now. And if you start this notion of, I'll wait for 2021, do you know what can happen between now and 2021? Do you think the mind will wait for you up to 2021? The constitution does not make you wait for 2021. If things are wrong now, you speak out now. If the lawyer comes out and tells you you're also wrong, my God, he's made a mistake. On me, he's made a mistake, and they have to pay for that mistake. Him, his minister, they have to pay for that mistake. At the end, we need an apology and we need accountability. If you can make such kind of decisions and statements in public, what the hell are you doing in private? What more in private? You're literally stepping on the law in public. That has me worried.
Yeah, maybe just to add on what Leon has said. When you look at I really want to channel my anger at the minister. But after the sentiments that were presented today, I don't think I should channel my anger at the minister, because if I'm a boss and I'm running a company, I'm running Trade Kings, for example, and then one of my PR persons goes, or one of the managers goes and says something and says, as Trade Kings were stealing from the Zambians, and then I decide to go and defend that manager. It is not the fault of the manager. It is my fault, who is owning the company, who runs the company, who makes the decisions. And when it comes to ministers serve and are appointed and fired at the pleasure of the president. There's no procedure needed. There's nothing like unfair dismissal. The president can wake up and fire a minister today and appoint another tomorrow and fire another one the other day. It's his prerogative. But for a president to take away 5 minutes of his time, that's a lot of time for a president who has a busy schedule. To take away 5 minutes of his time to speak about young people who are protesting, who want to protest, and to defend a minister who has infringed on the right of on the freedom of expression of others. That in itself should be a cause of worry. Now, I when it comes to democracy, and when you talk about 2021, I agree with you. When it comes to democracy is not just about going to the ballot and voting. And I like this thing of saying that in 2021 we'll make things right, but I don't necessarily jump on that bandwagon. Democracy, voting is just the first step of democracy. There are other key tenets of democracy, such as freedoms and rights, that are enshrined in the Constitution that must be protected to guarantee an absolute democracy, or even a mini democracy. What we have now is something that is totally opposite from a democracy, where a person who now this is a commander-in-chief of the armed forces issues a statement that we shall deal with you. Those remarks. I mean, that must make you feel angry. And I don't think we are angry enough as young people. I don't think we are angry enough as young people, because when young people roar, they change the course of history. Look at 1964. It is the young people of 1964 that ended colonization. It is the young people of 1980, 1990 that ended apartheid in South Africa. It is the young people of Libya, the young people of Egypt that started the Arab Springs. It is the young people of the United States that are running with the Black Lives Matter today. And if we as young people in Zambia are angry enough, there is no one that can stop us from doing what is right by our country. Now, we are guaranteed by these are, you see, the Constitution is, there are certain rights that we can say are not in our Constitution. They are universal rights, such as minority rights. It's very difficult to defend them, even when you agree with them. But when it comes to rights that are enshrined in our Constitution, Article 21 of our Constitution gives us the freedom of expression. And then the Bill of Rights is the most important a part of the Constitution. Even the part that talks about ministers, it is far much inferior to the Bill of Rights. Then someone who is appointed, who doesn't even serve in cabinet, comes and threatens young people over their freedom of expression for simply saying that the gold that is being mined must belong and stay with the Zambians. And then you have the leader of the country. If it was North Korea, I would say the supreme leader. And I think that's the direction that we're headed to. His Able Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, coming to defend the violation of the Constitution. That should cause you worry. That is a source of worry. And we as young people need to be angry. I always ask myself a question. Mulala Shani, how do you sleep at night? Understanding that the people who you have placed a responsibility to protect you are the ones that are violating you. How do you sleep at night?
Okay, now thank you so much for that, and we really appreciate it. Now let's look at things in a different perspective right now. Now you have been doing this for some time now. Don't you think it's high time now to change the strategy? Because whatever attempt which have been done there, I mean, there haven't been enough progress. So as we are talking now, we are no longer youths who were 5 years ago. This time around, it's totally different. And we are more exposed to, technology, knowledge, information, and also the Constitution. Anyone can access it. So what strategy do you think will work in our favor, as we start, implementing what we want to see? Because the thing is, we want change, and we want change which will favor each and every Zambian, because we are all Zambians. We are not on this platform because we are politicians. No. We are here because we are entrepreneurs who want to have, favorable policies to trade and to grow the economy. Because the thing is, when we have more importing, when we're importing more products from outside and we are not exporting more of our product, then we've got a problem. That affects the economy of Zambia. Now, in this case now, since you have been doing this for a long time, which strategy do you think will work best so that at least things can now move from where we have been, failing to progress to go further now? Apart from the political section, which we are looking much on, because the leaders are not doing what they are supposed to do. But as a people of Zambia, what things do you think we can do right so that we move forward?
There's a saying, I've forgotten who said it, but it says they came for the Jews, I kept silent. They came for the Christians, I kept silent. They came for the black people, I kept silent. When they came for me, there was no one to speak for me because they had killed everyone that had come for me. Now, if you look at how 2011 started, 2011 itself, how it started and getting to today where we are, a lot of things, it's been going slow by slow. It was Pilato, it was Laura Miti, now it's Biflo. And Biflo has never been tried. I don't know if I'm wrong, but Biflo has never been in conflict with any of the people that are saving. Now it's Biflo. Tomorrow it's going to be you. The only strategy that can work to change the course of our country is solidarity and us getting angry enough. As long as we are not angry, there's nothing else that can change our country. Because look, for other countries, when you look at the way countries like, let's say, for example, the United States of America operates, when you're talking about government bureaucracy and we're talking about elected officials, they're two different things. A professional in the American government can work and disagree with what the president said. We saw what the Mueller report did over Donald Trump. FBI was investigating Donald Trump because those are different entities. There's that autonomy between the entities. The business environment is operated on its own and it's running smoothly. But when it comes to Zambia, starting from business, just go to Intercity. Who is running Intercity today? Who's collecting the revenue from Intercity today? It is cadres, deployed cadres of political parties. Go to boards, our company boards. Go to our company boards. The people who are running the boards, the board of directors of our state-owned enterprises. Who is running those boards? Who is leading those boards? Go to a lot of things are entangled around the people who are elected. Okay, so it's very difficult for you to do something in isolation outside the elected officials. If we had genuine people elected, people who had the heart for Zambians, they would ensure that the business environment is independent and runs on its own without political interference. But where you are today, even if you started a business and you wanted to supply something to government, as long as you don't belong to a political party, and here's the funny part. In 2011, you had to belong to their political party or be independent of any other political party. This time, you either belong to their political party or you don't get anything. That is the only condition that is there. When you are just an independent citizen who's not attached to any, look, just this thing that has been going on over the past few days. I've never heard. I follow a lot of Zambian people and musicians and so on and so on, celebrities. I've never heard Lily talk about her belonging to a political party. Neither has Biflo, neither has Mubita or any of those people. But you have someone making statements today to say they are being sponsored by the opposition to cause anarchy and chaos. So the people who have elected have created the scenario to say if you don't support them, you are paid and sponsored by the opposition. Even just this conversation we are having today, trust me, if they see it, these conversations, they will say that no, some opposition party has been giving money and bundles to young people to go online at night and discuss government. It's very difficult for us to do anything. The only strategy, my brother, that can work for the Zambian youth is for us to stand in solidarity, to be angry enough and to take away the power that we gave those who are abusing it against us. That is the only solution.
Good morning.
That's it. That's it. So at least I'm glad that at least you've even explained. Henry, we have Henry on. Hi, Henry. How are you? I'm surprised that people can't sleep in Salam Zambia.
No, we can't sleep.
I'm surprised. Normally, I would have been talking to my American audience, but I'm surprised.
This should be the strategic time that we need to be digesting.
How are you? Where you from?
Hi, people. How are you? I'm humbled to be on the forum. I've been following it for the past, I think, 1 hour to 2 hours. Yeah, sure. I would just want to make a comment and a compliment on some previous speakers that have even gone off, like Ricardo statements according to the way he was trying to articulate the matters. But I would love to speak about what now is just from talking. One thing I've come to see is that we need to identify within the parliament, there are people that are against what are happening right now. Let's look for those people. We identify them. If we can't identify them, as we stand up to fight, like one of the colleagues, it should be Wilfred, was talking about economical basis. Now, when you look at ourselves as youths at the moment, we are trying to walk up. We need to change. We cannot walk up and start talking about economical issues at the moment. Then we will fail. We will not look into that. What we need at the moment, we need to stand up. We get united because the head of the state is against what the youths are doing. And in the actual sense, we are just trying to fight even for poor people that can't stand up and speak. There are a high number of people in villages, they cannot stand up and speak. They have got no voice. Now, if they've got no voice, you and me, we are lucky that we've got this opportunity that we can even be digesting around this time. The reason why you and me at this moment, we are not sleeping is because we are concerned about the situation that is happening in Zambia right now. I'll give an example of what happened in one part of Zambia. During the period of lockdown, a place, this border from Tanzania, where a boy was shot.
Nakonde.
Nakonde. Instead of people standing up and try to protect the child who was shot, they start blaming to say no, they were these are cadres. So one thing I've come to identify is is just one way that they are using. Whoever comes out or anything comes in a different way that is not supported by the government of the day, automatically you are painted. Some of us, we support any political party, but in my case, I support on the individual basis. Personally, I support on the individual basis, because if you're supporting a political party, that's why a high number of people are disappointed today. Today, a high number of people, especially youth, they are very much disappointed. If you look at those people who are dancing Dununa Reverse, that song, the same people, if you were to do a census among those, you find that in their homes, they're not eating in right food.
Yeah.
You see? So now what we need to do, according to what now I was explaining, what we need to do is we need to identify people that can work with us as youths. Within the parliament, they are there. Within the police service, they are there. Because this time around, even the police officers have got no powers. Cadres have taken over. We are getting back to the vigilantes, which is not right. Which is not right. You can imagine a police officer is working, the police officer is working dressed in uniform, a cadre comes in. Huh? And then he commands the police officer to give way. Meaning he has no power. The power has been taken over.
Can you imagine?
If you look at the situation that we are talking about, the same Honorable Lusambo, where he's being supported on such, that is unethical. That is immoral. And automatically that entails that the government that we are in, is corrupt, incompetent, and it is not democratic, even as it is stated to say it's a democratic country. I totally argue with this. We are calling it a Christian nation when the principles of a Christian nation are not even suiting to that. I don't know, that is the 18th October. You'll be having prayers and you'll be saying you'll be going for prayers. To pray for what? And you expect God to be hearing your prayers?
Thank you, my brother.
Are you sure God will hear your prayers?
Thank you.
Some of the prayers that people give, I know some of you are believers, you believe in God. You will find that some of you, when you kneel down, you pray to God, God will answer your prayer, rather than such that giving out when they go to pray to say, when others are even making allowances on the day of prayers, they come, they've eaten from their homes and they say they are praying and God will hear our prayers. Some of these things, just recently,
and they're stealing our gold.
They're still, yes, when you talk about the issue of the God issues, those things are belonging to us. Huh? It's not foreigners that are supposed to be benefiting.
Yeah.
There are issues. I'm also blaming the opposition. I'm also blaming the opposition political parties in Zambia in the issue to say they are the ones that are supposed to be standing in front to make checks and balances, but they are mute. They can't talk.
True.
They can't talk. They're quiet.
UPMD to talk or what? I haven't heard what.
So if you and me will sit down and wait for the opposition, NDC, UPND, these other political parties, I'm telling you, you and me are the ones who are going to suffer. The projects that are happening, that they are declaring to say by 2020, by 2065, are you telling me these politicians who are in the offices, they'll be there? They are selfish to satisfy their own egos. They are there to satisfy their own egos. They don't have heart even for their own children, because their children will not be there. If you look at one video that I've just posted on the social media about the Muslims, this Muslim was quoting from a Quran where their Quran is stating to say, when you are in the office, respect the people that you are governing. When you respect people who you are governing, then they will pay back the respect. If you show them that you are corrupt, automatically even those others that are the system, yes. But you now are saying a Christian nation, and you find that the same Christian nation, I didn't want to quote the Bible because I know we are Christians. We are Christians. Now I'm quoting from a Quran.
I'm saying it's not even the Bible.
Yes,
yes.
Let's
understand something.
Wow.
Let's understand something. This is nothing to do with Christianity. Because let me be honest. Let me be honest with you.
Yes.
I've been brought up by a single parent. All right. From my childhood, I've been going to church. All right. There are certain things which have been manipulated to favor leaders. All right. God said, "Let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, so that he may have what? Dominion over the things of the earth." This is God gave us everything. All right. But in today's situation,
yes.
Everything, Mudara, everything. We're talking about land, water, everything. But in today's world, we, the Zambians or the Africans, the South Africans, we don't have much access to those things. That's another thing we really need to consider.
Sorry, just there. I brought in the concept of the Bible and the Quran because I was trying to relate on the issue of you've brought up a day that is to bribe people. You know, that's one way of bribing people. Bribing does not necessarily.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. Bribing does not necessarily you get money and give it to somebody. No. It's not like that. You see, when we look at that, that is totally against what is supposed to be done in our country. I can assure you 15, 20 years. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. One thing, we know Zambia is a Christian nation, and people who pray. I pray, you pray. The city of Sodom was not going to be destroyed if Lot and his wife didn't work out. Meaning God can't just sit back and watch Zambia get destroyed. You understand?
Yeah.
The fact that these people actually use the word of God to try and use it to their advantage. No, prayer and fasting. No, God this. Even God's live streaming, he's in church. God says, for those people who are hiding under my name, I will expose you. I will expose you because he doesn't want people to see one time you're doing good stuff, the other time you're giving the people of Zambia and doing other things. If you look at past events, all I see is God has been exposing people. But again, God is only going to work according to what? The power that worketh in us. Meaning, he will keep exposing these people, but until we stand up to say, let's do something about it. That issue about the guy who died, the one who was transporting coronavirus samples, one who was put on a bus.
Oh, yeah, that young man. Yeah.
There's so much justice being claimed for that. And then the minister, another minister again, comes out and says there was no transport. You a minister who are in a bus. Can you move with the bus if that was you? There was so much justice to be claimed on that. That issue just died after the minister gave it. That was his justification. Now look at us now. Another minister has done something against the law. If we don't act, the Spirit of God is waiting for people in Zambia who are going to act according to the power that worketh in us. You understand? He will fight for us. It doesn't matter if one of us is jailed like the way it has happened for one day, for what. At the end of it all, he wants to see Israel prosper. He can't let Zambia perish with all of us praying as we are. These people are being exposed and we have to decide to act right now. And I suggest we make a strategy of how we are going to do this immediately. People are angry. This is the best time to do it.
I think maybe
so
just to add on that one.
Sisters.
Yeah.
I'd like to be excused right now. I will join you later. Let me take some rest. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Lily, we'll chat on the other side.
Maybe just to add on the issue of the way things are. There's a quote by Steve Dickens in his book, I Write What I Like, where he said, black man, you are on your own. I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in all the concepts of Christianity. But one of the things that I understand is that there's no one who's going to fight for our country if we don't fight for it ourselves. There's no supernatural power. Let me use the terms of that pastor. There's no supernatural power that will come from somewhere to come and help us supernatural power that will come and help us fight for our country if we don't fight for it ourselves. Now, the first thing about a revolution, is that people begin to talk. A long time ago, just this same conversation that we're having, when we have this type of conversation, people would not come in and chip in and talk and say things that are supposed to be said. People would not watch, but people have begun to talk. People have begun to uprise. Now, if you look at what is going on in Uganda today, the People Power Revolution in Uganda led by Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is a musician that comes from traditional music environment. I always tell people to say, the most influential people that you must be scared of when it comes to revolution are musicians. I always tell people to say, when musicians begin to act, you must be worried. You must really be worried, because even in South Africa, the jazz hour in South Africa is what led to the rising of the revolution. Anywhere where you go, you find that music has been used as a tool that has helped to fight the revolution. Now, when you begin to underrate the noise that people are making, the noise that people, especially musicians, you are creating room for your own domination. Look at 2011, the role that Dandy Crazy played in 2011. Look at that role that he played in 2011. And look at the role that many other musicians have played to change the course of history. When you talk about strategy, a lot of people are speaking out now. As a starting point, speak out. As a starting point, speak out. Yes, there are other strategies that we need to develop as time goes. But as a starting point, you need to speak out. Youth must begin to speak out, because when you speak, when you roar, you begin to communicate the anger that you have. One day, I've always believed that one day there will come a time when people will say, enough is enough. Let us do this thing, and they will do it. But we need to begin from somewhere, and the beginning point is for us to speak out in our individual capacity, in our organizations, wherever we are. Unfortunately for our colleagues, we are carrying, some of us that are not in civil service, we are carrying a huge load on our backs. Our colleagues who are in the military, who are police officers, who are doctors and nurses, are afraid of speaking out. They are waiting for us to help them speak out. Look at what went on in Malawi. It started as something that was very simple, but look at where Malawi is today. Look at the fire brand that Malawi is driving with today. We must pick lessons from Malawi. We must pick lessons from Zimbabwe, even if the outcome is not as expected. But the fact that Zimbabwe managed to remove a president that has stayed in power for over 25 years, that must begin to communicate to you. If we can borrow the words of that clip that was running around to say, if Zimbabwe did it and Malawi did it, why can't we also do it? We need, as young people, to begin to speak out as a starting point. And I always tell people to say, if your next door neighbor, by your next door neighbor, I mean the people you live with in your house, don't know about the injustices that are going on, then you are wasting your time. Begin to tell the people who you are seated next to, boss, things are happening, let's move together. Spark the revolution from the house, because the revolution does not begin. If you can't have a revolution in your house, you can't have it outside. Begin the revolution in your house. So that when the battle cry sounds, and say, now it is the time for us to act, we must come together and act. A lot of us will definitely come together and act. But as a starting point, I say, speak.
Can I just come in? Can I just come in?
Okay.
I think I've been following this
Matthew,
for some time now, but I've heard what Mr. Henry was saying. That's the most thing that I want to address. The issue of speaking out. I've seen a situation whereby people talk. I'll give a practical example. Me, I'm a truck driver. So when you see there's a situation whereby the investors, so-called Chinese, come into this country, and then they want to pay Zambians peanuts. when Zambians go to complain, those people speak out. Those people speak out. They are attacked. Okay, so people want to talk. When people are quiet, they are scared. There is no protection. Okay, there's no protection. Even me here, I've got my own complaints. Okay, so if I tell you to say I was working for a certain man, and then because of the same issue, coronavirus, this person says, no, we're not going to pay you. Me, if I stand, if I go to all those offices and complain, that man, because him has got something in his pocket, me, my case would be
Shunned,
it won't even go anywhere.
Buried.
Get the point?
Oh.
I'll give a practical example.
Oh.
Bifro's the apologize so fast. Underground, you must to tell you, there's something that you must know, that somewhere in the dark corner there's something being cooked up. Okay, so we want to talk. What's happening? Things are not okay. But again, we are living in fear. Thugs, criminals are being created in the name of this thing of Kada. Opposition parties, it's not that it's not that they can't talk. Okay, the right of freedom of expression, this thing has been killed. This issue of independence, I don't know which independence do you even talk about? Which independence do you even talk about? People, I've seen an Indian man abusing a Zambian person. I've been there where Chinese people, they're even instructing a police officer to say, slap this one and then I'll pay you money. All those things happening. If people stand to speak, they are threatened. I'll give a practical example. That time when truck drivers stood up to say, no, every truck driver should park the vehicles. There's no way truck driver akazienda from Zambia to Congo, and then is being given something like 500 kwacha as a trip allowance. What happened? We saw people Rama Union being attacked. It's not that people they don't want to talk. It's really painful, but we are scared. We are actually living in fear, and that's what is happening.
Fear.
Listen, madam. Zambian people are going to South Africa looking for jobs. Why? You find that a truck driver who's working in South Africa, you find that the minimum of salary that he can get paid, it's $900 US. That's minimum. But coming to Zambia, a driver driving things worth 50,000 kwacha, 60,000 kwacha per trip, but that driver is being paid 1,500. Rentals are being hiked.
In America, they get like
$2,000 being increased. All those things are being increased. If people stand to complain, they are attacked. Then my question is, where is a Christian? Where is the Christian nation? We're just quarreling with my landlord. I go to my boss. Boss, pay me my wages. I know if you want, go wherever you want to go. Okay. So listen, to tell you the truth, I'm ready to die for the truth. If it means standing for the truth, I'm actually supporting Bifro. I'm actually supporting the photographer. I'm actually supporting every youth. Okay, I'm a certified youth, a Zambian. So we actually subdaming to say, okay, these things, Ivanovic, stop. I'm not about. That's it's very bad.
They are using the what? The divide and
people
conquer
are angry.
Divide and conquer, where you know.
And you see,
yeah, so
and
I
you see, the
think,
thing is, some of you have never
can I
seen me
just
before.
get in?
You've just got to know me on Facebook.
We shouldn't just leave this thing to the musicians. No. Everyone should really come in, and we should condemn this thing. We need to be in one accord. The problem is that some of them were shushu. Some of them were shushu. You come here to say no, let's do this. Is the some, and then you go back there, no bossy muntu waso ndezo kamba vaso. Muntu waso ndezo kamba vaso, muntu waso ndezo kamba vaso. We need to be in one accord. We need to be one accord. If we say this, if we say no to something, we need to say no. I'll give a practical example, like South Africans. When South Africans, they mean to do something, they'll come in one accord to say no, too much. We need to do this. But how come? But first, my question is, me in somewhere in grade 9 or grade 12, I used to take civic education or civics. If I remember very well, we're taught something said every citizen has got right of what? Freedom of what? Expression. But if somebody goes on media and expresses himself, before he didn't insult. Tukuta didn't insult.
Yes.
But what threat? The question, in fact, the minister, Honorable Sambo, actually, if I heard him right, he was even using abusive language. Then my question is,
stupid nonsense.
Stupid nonsense. That's abusive language. Then my question is, where is the freedom of speech? And then two, what's the purpose of 18th October? Where is the name of Christian nation? If you read the Bible very well in First Timothy or Second Timothy, there's where it says that a leader must respect his subjects. Those are instructions. They are written. So if people come on public to say, okay, this is what's happening, we are not happy with what is going on, you will have to call them. That's a sign of fathership. But I think what I'm seeing today, in the near future, if we keep quiet, I'm seeing dictatorship. If we keep quiet, I'm seeing the situation that was in Angola, the situation that is actually in Congo, and these conflicts that are happening in other countries coming into this country. If we keep quiet, and me personally, I'm saying no. And I'm saying no to this, and we have to. Me personally, I've come out to condemn what's going on. Okay, a police officer doesn't have power. Imagine a police officer; he doesn't have power. Stations, cadres have taken over. They have taken over. Kurimatawa, Merinyamu, Intercity. They've taken over. Somebody steals the phone from me. I got to report.
The bus station.
It's everywhere. It's just everywhere. It's countrywide. That issue is countrywide. It's everywhere where cadres are taking over. Not only in the stations, even in the road. I'm driving right now. As I'm saying, I'm not in my own place. I'm in the Wapura province right now. As I was driving, going to where I am right now, all over munjira ukaimirira che ati niliko na bantu baenda kwa kuti ndine komanda ati afuseke ndiwe komanda na bandani uko. So you know,
this whole dictatorship thing is way up there. It starts from this. We're seeing how the ministers are acting. We can even date it back to last year. Who was the minister of education? That woman, what's her name? Kandulu. Did you see how she acted when she closed CBU? The Zambia National Student Union came together with all the universities and said, we need your audience. You need to speak to us and face us. Why have you closed CBU with no resolution? She shut the doors. Went to cry to the president, he shut the doors. This whole Mavebo hooligan thing nature, it starts from way up at the top, all the chain down.
And maybe just to add on, the thing is, look, when you're creating where we've gotten to today, how you create actual warlords is very easy. People begin to when people begin to insult each other. 2008, people were insulting each other. 2011, they were insulting each other. Insults fail to become enough. They decide to engage in brawls. They begin fighting, and fighting, and so on and so forth. When that is not enough, they look for weapons, pangas and machetes, which was 2015 elections, if you remember very well. Pangas and machetes. When the pangas and machetes are not enough, they engage in guns. First, they engage in smaller guns, pistols and small revolvers, which was the case in 2016 and in some by-elections. When the pistols and small revolvers are not enough, they begin to engage in semi-automatic rifles. We've seen some of the cadres going on videos.
You're right.
From semi-automatic rifles, when the semi-automatic rifles fail, they just engage in full automatic rifles. At that point, you have warlord. Because the problem that comes is that, for example, in 2021, an election goes in a different way, and then the current people lose the election. You have people who are armed, who were given guns, who are surviving and making money by being cadres and thugs. When they're out of power, they don't have anywhere to go, because the people who take up power decide to say, we're not going to do this cadre thing, and they let them go. What do they begin to do? They begin to use the guns that they were given to terrorize communities or create semi-military camps that try and overthrow government. Because look, no one is going to admit and say, when doing handovers, no one is going to admit and say, we gave this number of cadres, this number of guns, let's get them back, because they're afraid of being arrested. They will not say anything. So you have a group of 35 people with guns, pistols and revolvers and semi-automatic rifles, and then they have lost favor with the presidency, and no one in the then government wants to engage them. What do? How do they make a living? They either become criminals, hardcore criminals, armed robbers, or they begin to form a rebel squads that terrorize communities. That is how you create war. It started, and unfortunate. I am to be honest with you, I am very worried. I am very, very worried with what happens when the Patriotic Front loses power. What happens to the cadres, the commanders that they have created? What happens to them? That is my biggest worry. Every single day I think about what would happen to them, because they are everywhere now. Every single station, like you said, you find them. And the challenge is that they have suffocated the means of economic survival and left it to say you can only survive economically if you use your muscles. That is the only way you can survive economically. So a lot of young people have begun to see the communities as the political party commander thing as a way of making your own resources and sources of living. And now more than ever, it is very important for us to take charge and control of our country, because remember, some of these thugs, we have got some of them who are serving as members of parliament today. We know their history. They are thugs. We know where they come from. We know who they were called. We know what titles they were holding. We know the way they speak. We know them. They are there today. When they are appointed on ministerial positions and they begin to behave like thugs, whipping people, beating people up, threatening people, shutting up people, we shouldn't be surprised, because their history tells that. Now, a lot of those cadres who have been given contracts, who have been making a lot of money, they are rich today. They are driving very big Land Cruisers. The 2018, 2017 models of Land Cruisers that are over $45,000 to buy. They're the ones that they're driving. Where are they getting the money? Some of them have begun to campaign to go into parliament. When they get elected and they get what do we expect from them?
Matthew, you want to say
there,
something?
a man, somebody.
Yeah,
Yes.
can I just get in?
Just there, you find that somebody is able to buy, you know, those tipper truck shack man.
Yes. Yes.
Shack man. One. It's about 1 million. I don't know if we could, in odd currency it was 1 billion. And then somebody buys them 10 at one time. A cadre, a mere cadre. It doesn't even know how it feels to be at the University of ZAMBIA. But the question is that where are we going to be 10 years from now? Okay. The question is that where are we going to be 10 years from now? I'll give a practical example. A Zambian entrepreneur. Okay. I don't need people to. I don't need this government to bring a bag of Mimiu on the doors on my door to say we've brought a bag of Mimiu for me to be happy or to support them. No, but we're talking about empowerment. There's so much corruption in such a way that people who are enjoying are foreigners. Okay, if somebody tells me that in Zambia we don't have money, it's a lie. We are rich. Here in Zambia, we've got cash. Here in Zambia, we've got money. If we didn't have money, what are Chinese doing here in Zambia? You find that we've got Chinese personnel who are taking cement to Congo. They've got those export permits. We've got Indians who are taking goods from Zambia to Congo. We've got those.
This is the problem when you're having leaders who are working on advice. They're not working on their own wisdom. They take advice and make their own decisions. They're waiting for advice and then they act on 12 different sets of advice. You can't have this situation in China. And then you're debating about it.
Maybe let me just say this. At this point, I don't want to be the guy who fights for a third term. Let me give chance to others that they can come in also, and I hope that others will replicate my actions even in 2021 and give chance to others when their team come.
Now we need to have a live stream with Mumbi so that we can talk about the 22nd event. Now that
sorry, before you come in, I wanted to comment something on the taxation issue.
The conversation tomorrow at night, but for now, let me take my leave so that I can give chance to others to come in, so that I don't become a Mugabe of my own in this situation. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.
Okay, now I need to take inbox on Facebook. Now I check your inbox on Facebook.
I wanted to comment something on what Matthews was just explaining right now. Can you get me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, Matthews was
let Henry go, then I'll come after him.
Okay, I'm not even taking long. It's an issue where I was talking about the tipper dump trucks. These me, when I look at the taxation method that is in Zambia, it's an issue to do with the bourgeoisie and the patriarchy, the poor and the rich. I want to give you an example. Before this government came into the system, I think the taxation method was these small cars like Tumakolola and these Ranex. I think they used to pay around 9,700, 9,200, somewhere there. But this time around, how much is it? It's 26,200 quarter. You see that, huh? Then look at the vehicle that we were just talking about, a 2017, 2018 vehicle. It's paying a standard figure of 56,000 kwacha, which is 2 Corollas, Macorolla Avidi. 2 Corollas makes a Ford Ranger.
Wow.
Is that a fair justice? And you go and approve such a thing?
No.
One of the reasons why we are having such decisions and why we are having such to our government is because it's an example where you find that one person is done agriculture. You come and give him a post of justice minister. Does that really make sense, to be honest?
No.
Someone is a nurse. You come and appoint this is a spokesperson. Really? And you expect the government to change? Change should start from our minds. our minds, the way we think, the way we interact, the way we talk, the way we compose ourselves, the way we eat with our families. Change should start from ourselves. As we are thinking and talking about the revolution right now as youths, then change has started from our minds. As we expose it out to other people that are ready just to hear, we already have got change in our minds. But if we don't change ourselves, we don't have a positive vision that we can have a revolution. Meaning, even those people that we are going to be presenting to, they will not get anything. So even as we prepare ourselves to speak to other people, even as we want to meet these government officials, we need to be equipped positively in our minds. Personally, that's my understanding.
Yeah. Okay. Clamo, if you can just speak quickly, and then I think there's a lot to talk about, and we will have to do another live stream today. Because I didn't know people would really come on board. I just thought we'd just have a few people. And today it's actually a good thing to see the youths all rising up. Dear Lon doesn't want to sleep. Clamo, can you please say something?
I'm waiting to see which platform I'm going to use after this.
Okay, yeah. So basically the great thing, are you able to get me? Yeah, so the great thing that we have to understand is every beginning point is a good strategy. And one thing that has started, probably we know that it's a blessing and it's a good thing. So basically at this time, we know all of us that something has been implemented and something has its own foundation. Sometimes it may seem to be very small, as the book of James says that a spark, it might be very small, but when it kindles the bush, the whole bush will be taken, will be consumed. And again, it says a mouth, it can be very small, but when it speaks, it destroys or builds. So basically, as youths this time, we have realized that the cadres have taken their time, and their time is expired. A time of reformation when youths should build their future, and the future of the younger generation which is coming is now. A time when youths should stand and rise and say, okay, guys, enough is enough. We have heard too much of you is now. A time when young people shall stand for presidents is now. A time when we are going to look forward and say, an 18-year-old man should stand and become a member of parliament is now. A time when we shall see 21-year-old boy standing and saying, I'm going to stand as a president of Zambia is now. A time when gender should not matter. A time when tribe should not be a question. A time when people should sit down and realize the destiny of their children, not the destiny of their families, not the destiny of those that are connected to them. A time should come when sanity should be leveled down by the movement that the youth are putting in. A time when people shall not be worried about how much they need to get a job, but a time when youth shall be advertised, concerned, and based on their qualification is now. A time when a great reformation should take place, and the reformation starts in the mind of a person. So we know that this thing has started a long time ago, and people have been advocating for it, people have been fighting for it, people have been desiring to see a change one day. This is a time even when youths should understand that they need fellow youths who are going to take over, who are going to have a fear of them, who are going to understand that awe tabakandoweyo, people who are going to stand and say, we need a time when intellectuals should stand and sit on a table and think, and that regime can only be established at this time. This is the time when things are getting on a peak. I know some people, it comes a time when some people shall lose their lives, some people shall lose even the friends, some people shall lose the family members. It is a time, but if we are not ready to lose our lives, lose what we value most. We are not ready to take Zambia to put it in a right place. So all of us, we are crying, and our cry is based that we need youths to stand and youths to behave in everything that they say. Youths behave, because at this time, the destiny of Zambia lies in the youths. A youth will be able to think and look over the things that are going to come forward in the near future, rather than someone who's already 48 years, 50 years. All what they are thinking, all what they can see is a time when they are going to die, is a time when they are going to retire, is a time when the memorial park is going to call them. But a regime now has come, and it is now, it has started. It's not time to run away. It's not time where we need to say, no, it's a time when we can say, okay, as a Zambian youth, I'm going to hold myself responsible for what is happening. Accountability should be there in our hearts. In as much as we demand accountability to the government, we also have to be accountable to ensure that the government is doing the right thing. If the government doesn't want to do the right thing, it is high time when youths should take over and move forward and begin to stand in these positions that we've been afraid. We no longer want to be having those old ministers or the MPs in our constituencies. We need young men who understand technology, young men who understand where the wealth is. Why is it that when we see our ministers, I was laughing the other day, they are saying no, social media is not the best platform that you can express those. Comes that if social media,
Mr. Climo, let me just come in.
So some of the things that we those are some of the things that we need to work on. Those are some of the things that we need to push on as we are looking forward, as we are seeing strategies are taking over. We do not need to fear. All what we need, let us assemble ourselves and let us be ready for that day, for that time, for that minute, for that second, and take our banners and walk in front and see the salvation of the Lord. We know even those that are not informed, on that day they will be informed. Even those that seem to be fearful, that day they will never be dreadful. They shall stand with us and they shall walk with us. Even those that are surprised, even those that are saying this movement is going nowhere, a time is coming when they shall sit and they shall say, oh, this is the right thing. We are working for the redemption of our country. We are not working because we don't like the government. We love our nation and we don't need, we do not need conflict. We do not need war. All what we need is peace, and we need freedom. Above all these things, if we can say we are free, if we can say there is peace in our country, then we need to see economic freedom flourishing. We need to see people creating new jobs where youths can understand and can be engaged on how they can become great engineers of the next day, where they can become great managers of the next day. But we have got people who are educated, and on the other hand, you realize that nothing they can offer to the nation of Zambia. We have got thousands of people who are having papers and their papers are useless. We have got people who have got good intelligence, who are very intelligent even in technology, but they are not prized. Why? It is because the regime which is there does not understand where the world is working upon. That's why if you go in the book of 2 Chronicles, it says, God saw the sun, that the people who were able, who understood the time that they lived in. So it takes people who can understand the time that they are living in. Do we understand the time we are in? Is the time that we're in, are we able to interpret? Are we able to know what is required? What is required in this time is basically the economic freedom. And how shall that be attained is when the youth stand up and rise. We cannot put our faith and our trust in the cadres. Cadres cannot do anything. Cadres, all they know is to be paid money when they are bright, then they close their mouths, they are quiet.
Can I come in?
Are meaning better for this country, and we are meaning better for the future, even of the present students.
Thank you so much. Let me even take a rest now, as I'm preparing to do some works for tomorrow.
Okay,
thank you so much.
I think before
following you, and we'll continue working.
Clemo, send me a message on Facebook.
Before Natasha comes in.
Leon, send me a message, Clemo, in my Facebook inbox and deal. Okay.
Before Natasha comes in, I want to clarify something on the issue of the age. When it comes to, I think it's high time when Zambian people, they need to understand to say it's not about the age or the fame of that person that will actually change something, but it's about the how that person is able to think. Okay, it's about how innovative the mind is. It's not that because I know in a pot berry, no one huge, then he is qualified to be a minister. No, even somebody who is 22 or even somebody who is 25 can actually be the minister of agriculture for as long as he's able to plan. But what do we see here in Zambia? We've got leaders who spend most of their time drinking, leisure. What time are they going to plan? Yeah, if they're in South Africa, they're in Dubai, they're where? But the question is that what time are they going to plan? What time are they going to plan? I'll give a practical example. When you enter in a house, if it's actually looking dusty, before leaving it, you have to make sure that it looks clean. Okay, it looks clean.
Yeah.
If you leave that place worse than you found it, then you are not good. Okay, even when you enter a certain position, if there's a problem, if those problems don't end, then you're not doing your job. Then my question is that where are the ministers? Where is the Minister of Agriculture? Where is the Minister of Justice? Where is the Minister of Finance? Where is the Minister of Commerce? Where is all those people? They need to sit down and say, okay, guys, what are we supposed to do? Okay, so now this is what now we should learn. We need to learn something to say, okay, let's look for people who are thinking beyond.
Yes,
their minds are expanded. They have got innovative plans. Here with this issue, we can't just be depending on copper and that thing. Everything we've got plenty of land here. We've got water. We've got fertile land. We've got all those things.
Can I
so we need people who are able to think.
Like
we can go on and on the whole night. People are not sleeping.
Another thing that I wanted to add into what you just said is that when it comes to, like, for example, cleaners, the people at the bottom part of the totem pole, even just police officers, their salaries should reflect their work. So the thing is that one thing that I've realized out here is that even if you're a cleaner, you're given some kind of respect. Even if you're working at a shop, you're given the same respect that if a doctor you were to walk into a doctor's office, you would give a doctor. So the thing is that I feel like also salaries should reflect on the person's job. So you being a cleaner shouldn't mean that your salary should be literally peanuts. You see what I'm saying? The amount of effort, the amount of effort that you place into your work, that's still a job. That's still something that needs to get done. It's something that is part of, for the system to run the way it runs, that is still something that is commendable. So being able to respect those people who are doing the menial jobs, like being civil servants or maids or whatnot. Oh, sorry for the noise in the background. But
no, it's fine.
That's one thing that I wanted to say, because when you come out here, you'll have a cleaner. They have some. They command some kind of respect where people, even if you see a cleaner, you appreciate the fact that they're cleaning. Because if that person wasn't cleaning those places, it wouldn't be clean. So being able to the amount of work that somebody is doing should be reflected on their salary, and also to respect every single sector of every single person that is doing a specific type of job. They should be given a specific amount of respect, not somebody who is at the a director or whatever, but everybody. So like I feel like that's one thing also that needs to be looked at and said, okay, even if you're a cleaner, your salary needs to reflect, and it should be enough. And like I heard that there is a minimum wage in Zambia, but those things too have to be implemented. If there is a minimum wage, who is implementing that these things are being followed through? Because I'll see people who are saying that they earn 500 kwacha a month. And the thing is that if your rent, I've been looking at, I do a lot of research, and I will go to Facebook pages where they're trying to rent out their apartments or houses, and they're like maybe 1,000 kwacha. How is somebody supposed to live with 500 kwacha if rent is already 1,000 kwacha? Those are things that need to be looked at and said, hey, there's something wrong in this situation. How do we implement that everybody in the country has enough money to be able to take care of their children, take care of their families? And if you have children, those children should be a priority to the state, because every single child will one day be a leader one way or another. You see what I'm saying? So like, I feel like that's one thing that needs to be addressed as well, salaries of people, and making it a mandate that everyone is able to take care of their families.
Yeah, you see, Miss Natasha, and Zambia, the youth, this is why the youth are very important in this country. And this is also why the youth shouldn't be silenced. Imagine all of the youth thinking like that, and we've got all these things because we are the ones active on the ground, seeing how things are happening, and then someone comes in public and tries to silence us. This is why the youth can't be silenced, and this is why you would not expect your leader to also back that up. Okay, so I don't know what route we're going to take from here, but whatever route it is, you just let us know, and you let the Zambian people know as well, because so far the only way we are going to make things right here is through accountability. We need to start holding people accountable. All these funny problems that they've bought this, they've bought that, they do that because they know people can't be held accountable at the end of the day. A few people will complain here on social media, one musician here and there, but it's going to die down. Just the situation. But you and I have to bring the accountability to these guys, to let them know that we are watching, and whenever something is pushed out of place, we put it back in control. And for me, I feel it starts now. That accountability starts now. When we put that accountability with this situation, we paint the picture to say Zambian youths are not playing anymore. Because youth is what, 12 to 35. That's practically the whole population of Zambia, if you have to look at it.
I think
okay.
Something that's
thank you so much. Let Pumulo speak, and then we will close. We'll carry on today, but later. You can speak, Pumulo.
I think something that's very significant that I noticed when I was watching one of the politicians speak is that it seemed that he thought that the president is in charge of the people. But one thing that they don't realize is that the president works for the people. He put like so much respect. I think he's the minister or the mayor of Lusaka. He put so much respect on the position that the president holds. But he didn't emphasize that the president works for the people. And another thing that's very significant is that I'm 17 years old, but politics is very important to me. And when you look at not the youth, but the people that are younger than the youth, the teenagers in Zambia, they're completely blind to these issues. They do not care at all. But when you look at the teenagers in South Africa, they're really taking a stand when they have something that they stand for.
Oh, you're from South Africa then, yeah?
They will stop going. Yeah, I'm Zambian, but I live here. They will stop going to school and they will protest against gender-based violence. But that's something that I don't care about personally. Well, it's not. I care about it, but it doesn't
It's not something that I'm willing to waste my time.
Yes, I know what you mean.
If I am willing to risk my life for something that I believe is super important, for example, the freedom of speech, that's something that I'll be willing to go to jail for, then I will do that, but people are not doing that. So I believe that people, the younger people, the youngest generations should be more informed, made more aware of these issues, and stop caring about just media and things that are irrelevant. And the people should also realize that the president does not work. He works for them, and they do not work for him. That's exactly what I'm trying to explain.
Wow, thank you. So it would be nice to have a young person like you, Pomolo, and D. Leon, when we're having our next discussions, like for the next few weeks, because we need to keep on carrying on. And then, because I'm just waiting for confirmation, I'll be hosting 2 political party leaders so that we can just, not like I belong to any of the parties, but for us to grill them, to say, okay, you say you want us to vote for you. What change will you bring? And we complain as youths as well, to say, this is what we're going through. This is what we're going through. And they have to all lay it down, whether it's all political parties, all of them, we have to give them what we want as youths. So it would be very nice to have you. Please, Pomola, did you know me from Facebook? Or
I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you look like a good YouTuber. You should be a YouTuber. Even you, Dillion.
Lily, what time is the next?
I'm
Lily, what time is the next discussion?
Just forcing me to come on the scene.
Okay, the next discussion. What time will be suitable? 5 people are saying you should be having this around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Because I had a business discussion, and then somebody just commented like, "Oh, have you seen the president's speech?" And that it really destroyed my mood. To be honest, I was like, what now? And then only to find
we're all frustrated, like, damn.
It's people are commenting like, what's wrong with Lily? She's not smiling. Because I'm normally the bubbly. It put me down. It put me down. Honestly, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Lady, Lady, I do enjoy everything. Like, let me just say your shows. But I think this is the time when we need so much sensitization about this. It's something that would affect me and everyone in future. I personally, apart from being apart from being a driver, I'm also a media personnel. Okay.
So we need to talk. We need to talk.
I'm also a media personnel. For you to like when you're just at one place. When we're just at one place, you think that everything is okay. I can produce evidence for you to say, okay, let me go to a certain place, and then I say I produce something for it. Now see this. That's when you can know to say, okay, this is where we are going. This is where we are going.
We've got a WhatsApp group. We've got a WhatsApp group. That's why I asked Dillion, Pomolo, Henry, and you as well to contact me, because on that WhatsApp group, we're calling it Stand Up for Zambia. But we need people like you who are, because people can say on Facebook, Stand Up for Zambia, but they're not willing to come out to speak, So if you can send me a message on Facebook.
If everyone will not stand, then I'm ready to stand. I'll be the only one.
Yeah. So if you can send me messages on Facebook, if all of you can send me messages on Facebook, and then I'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and also we have a chat. Like what you're saying about the field, what you're talking about, the places you would want to take me. That's the vision for Stand Up for Zambia.
I've already sent you my number.
Lily, now we've got one problem here. Lily, we've got one problem here. There's one point that Pomoro raised. He said something that if they want to fight something like against is it gender-based violence, they'll actually come in one accord. But you know, I found there's only one challenge that I've actually found in Zambia. Among us youths, ourselves, we like fighting ourselves because of the love of money.
Yes.
Because of the love of money. Do you think? Do you think if we are not careful, I'm being real. If we are not careful, 10 years from now, we can actually go like back into colonization. Why? Because with the situation that I'm seeing, the way things are being done, it's very dangerous. And this is the time, where we need to stand. Listen, if a few individuals stand in Lusaka, what about people in Copper Belt? What about people in Livingstone? People in the Western Province? People in the Eastern Province?
That's why the group is there.
Wanda, Lily, I want you to. This thing shouldn't just be limited to this. No, I want this thing to like go beyond. Even those people that are not even on Facebook, they don't even. They need to be aware. If this evidence, if now everything is evidence to say, okay, it's like now the whole Zambian people are upset. Now if they just see tomorrow it's Bifro, the other day it's Tukuta, the other day it's Kings Marembe. These guys, Bafana, Boran. Where the issue of money is concerned, I don't trust anyone. You know, where the issue of money is. Did you see how Kings Marembe apologized very fast? Very quickly.
You can't even know, maybe he was given something. You can't know, maybe he was given something.
Maybe he was given something. The issue of cash. But we need to stand in one accord, just like Didion is saying, that we need to be in one accord. If we say yes, it's yes. Not as someone others are saying yes, others are saying no. We won't win this battle. So Lily,
okay, so somebody has just showed me this right now. This is in Kitwe. So is that the way the cadres follow? Emakada. See how they do.
Okay. Illiteracy can kill someone.
Lily, just there on listen, just listen, Lily, if you give me a 1,000, don't just expect me to speak bad things about you even when you do something wrong. Okay?
Yeah, no, it depends with your on that one I can oppose with you. It depends with your credibility.
Yes, that's why I said tomorrow.
My dear, even if you personally, even if you were to give me 10,000 to say back off from the revolution planning, I think you can die with your 10,000 because I'm standing for this. For the future generation. If our forefathers never stood, listen, Matthews. If our forefathers never stood for us, today we wouldn't have been benefiting even what we are benefiting right now. We wouldn't have even been discussing right now. We've never met, but we are able to chat and discuss like this. We are able to digest. You see? So we should have a vision. Lack of vision, that's what leads to such thinking. That's the same things that I was talking about, immoral things.
Hello, me.
Okay, so tomorrow,
I'm fighting for my interest.
Let's have a discussion 2 p.m. because I have a Zoom meeting talking about this the group. So let's meet. Are you people going to church tomorrow? Are you people going to church tomorrow?
People like me, I don't go to church. I just believe in God.
Amen.
Like some of us we need to hustle. You know, we need to go on the street and hustle because we need to eat. Okay, so like I'm there on the ground.
Matthew, Kumulo, Henry, everyone contact me because Matthew, I have a job for you. Matthew, I have a job for you, not that 500 paid. So Yeah. So contact me via.
Okay. That drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can
Send me a
drop.
message
You
on
can give me your WhatsApp line.
Matthew,
Okay. I will.
My phone won't rest. My phone won't rest.
Mupase nkoni nchito osati bakamulipira kachoke mu revolution.
Don't forget the vision. We are the youth here. We are the youth.
Okay, so what's the agreed time? So what's the agreed time? People, what's the agreed time?
Okay, let's do, because the Zoom meet. Okay, let me check the time of the Zoom meeting we have, because I'm the one chairing the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just check. What time is the meeting? Okay, it's 21:30 Zambian time, the Zoom meeting. So we can start 2 p.m. I'll set up everything now. I've already done a flyer. Whilst we were talking, I even set up the flyer. So that's our flyer for tomorrow. This one. Yeah. So Zambian youth arise now.
Okay.
Let's talk, do the right thing. So I'll set up everything now, and then if you can contact me, because there's work that will be starting. For me, the vision of Stand Up Youth Zambia is not necessarily political, but it's rather empowerment. How can we empower the youth? If you're talented in media, you're talented in different things, rather than, because the truth is, even if another government comes in, it will take time for them to recover the economy, maybe even 20 years. But through funding, through what we're planning to do, we want to empower talented youths, because we can present your CVs to organizations and, say, you are very intelligent, you deserve an opportunity to travel abroad, or we put money together, like we're trying to fundraise money for the other girl who bakes buns using a stove, Yamalasha. So we can do that as well. But if we have, one voice, we're working together, we form this group, which we've already started. Our own is a movement to push ourselves forward. Yes, we need answers from government, but we also want to push ourselves forward. Is it media? Is it this? Like when I started my YouTube channel, I'm now at almost 64,000. And believe you me, YouTube is the best thing that ever happened to me. I was telling people, I was like, look, this is a TV station. And if we work around it, we can be getting information from Chipata, from Dollar, and all those places. People are getting paid, because the more content we have on YouTube, the more people flock to a channel and the more revenue, because YouTube pays us to be on YouTube. You know that, Pomo. You get paid to be on YouTube. So rather than waiting for the government, yes, we're talking about the government is doing this, the government is doing that, but we want to find solutions of how we can empower ourselves as Zambian youths. That's the whole essence of having the program. Yeah. So if you can send me emails, Matthew, you say you can film instead of you working as a truck driver. There's opportunities for you to film.
Yeah.
Graphics, all sorts of things. These are the things that I always wanted to do, but we're limited, obviously. But now with what's happening, the youth are tired. We are pushing ourselves. So there's a lot that I will tell you eventually, but we are working hard. So if you send me a message, then I'll add you to our WhatsApp group. And if you haven't sent me your pictures as well, we're doing Stand Up Youth Zambia, where you just give a quote on what you want to see about Zambia. We are not associated with any political party. We are independent. Yeah.
Get a pic from my WhatsApp number. You'll find my pic there.
Yeah, so Zambia is asking what time zone is the meeting? They want to be on the live stream. So they're saying GMT what?
+2.
14 hours Zambian time is
2.
13 hours. Because most people might go to church, isn't it? So I'm thinking 14 hours Zambian time. Will people be at home? Or people want to be on Zoom early?
Churches in Zambia is just minimum of 1 hour 30 minutes.
Okay.
Churches just 1 hour here in Zambia.
Yeah. Okay. 13 hours Zambian time or 14? Which one will be better?
14.
13 or 14?
14 will be the best.
14.
To give you time.
14.
Yeah, okay. But tomorrow, obviously, because people have said they also want to speak, we'll make it 5 minutes. You speak, this one speaks, this one speaks. So you speak, you leave, you speak, you leave. You don't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Messages, numbers.
Okay, I'll contact you, Lily.
Okay, all right. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Keep up with a good spirit.
Yeah.
Don't
We
lose heart.
will. Okay. Don't forget to contact me.
I've done that.
Okay. Thanks, Pomolo. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. The youth of Zambia are angry. I didn't plan to do this live stream. It's just when I was talking about business on Facebook, somebody just told me, have you seen what the president has said? And it really crushed me, Yeah, so tomorrow we're meeting at 14 hours Zambian time. If you go lilymutamztv, also known as Gelopazed, take care. Nangu wanchinge ukufila na kanana la tulukusha paka